organization with no soul. Behind closed doors saw the mess they control. Elron's legacy built on broken dreams, but Nora's here, tearing apart at the seams. Raised in the code, found truth on the screen. Therapy sessions where the pain's unseen. Healing from the past with stories that sting. Oh no, Nora, live that freedom ring.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Welcome back to Raised in Scientology. I'm your host, Nora, and we are in the garage. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Guys, gals, folks, everyone. I hope you brought your popcorn. I hope you brought your seatbelt to strap in, because this is going to be a lot. Okay, if you guys just saw me on Serge's stream, happy birthday, Serge. It is at literally Serge's birthday today. Please go. Thank you for another downvote. God, people are downvoting. I haven't even said words yet. I haven't even said words. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Brown Barbie. I've been working on my hair. It's growing out. It's growing out, my friend. But yeah, it's Serge's birthday today. 3 months of membership for Miss Janie. Well, thank you so much for being here. Wow. This, guys, who is messing? I swear to God, I feel like my children come in here and mess up all of my things, because now I can't see this. I don't know what it says. Let me fix this. This is redonkulous. It's ridiculdockle, as my mother would say. I got to fix the comments now. Well, I don't want all of the text to have that background. For crying in a bucket. There we go. Ms. Janie celebrating 3 months of membership. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you. Appreciate. All right. Let's get down to it, guys. Today, what we're going to do, okay, this will probably have to be in several parts. I have literally lost track. I don't know. I have 20 plus tabs open over here. Okay. I have a lot of things to cover. Okay. A lot of things to cover. We're going to go step by step. But what I want to cover in this particular stream, and you guys can guess from the thumbnail, okay, is what has happened in the history of the anti-Scientology movement. Okay, so we're going to go back. We're going to go back in the Wayback Machine. But first, before we go way back in the Wayback Machine, we're going to see what Scientology is saying literally yesterday when they debuted their brand new commercial from the cult. And let's just show how Scientology is saying who and what they are to the world right now. Okay, yes, this is on their official site. Yes, I have my full disclaimer here. I'm just going to say it before I show anything. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. All rights and credit go directly to its rightful owners. No copyright infringement is intended. We're going to keep that up on here. So this is Scientology's brand new, okay, it's called Our Church New Scientology Commercial. Here we go.
What if there was a place that was different?
Already, it's not creepy at all. We've got, what's his face doing the voice? I'll bring him up later. Okay.
Where unsolvable problems could be solved.
Unsolvable problems can be solved. Can they? Can they be solved, Scientology? Did you see the infinity symbol and the triangle pop up real quick there?
Where science and religion.
Okay, Scientology is neither. I feel like I'm, what's her face on Coffee Talk. All right, I'll give you a topic to this. I'm verklempt. I'll give you a topic to discuss while I get myself together. Scientology is neither a science nor a religion. Discuss. Like, what? Linda Richmond. This is Linda Richmond. And today on Coffee Talk, we're talking about Scientology. Okay.
Combined.
And we have the E-meter. Science and religion combined. No. Guys, this is shit you can get at Radio Shack.
A new kind of place.
See, now look, they're drawing the auditor's room. They're drawing the room here. This is the auditor over here. He's got all his references, like here, right? This is his auditing chair. Okay. And these are the references that he's going to have here, spare cans, right? And on the other side of this wall, there's another auditor.
With the technology.
Oh, look at the great
to
chart.
Unleash your full potential.
Your full potential. Sure.
And unlock the secrets.
Unlocks the secrets. They show knowledge. They show reality.
Of life.
See, look. Now, guys, these are the two triangles. Affinity, reality, communication. That's the ARC triangle. Okay. Knowledge, responsibility, and control. Okay. That's the KRC triangle. What's different here, okay, is that they've put communication at the top, but you still say it ARC. You don't see it CAR. The car triangle, that would be bad. It's ARC and KRC. Right? Okay.
Itself.
Yeah, no one's singing like that. Right. Now they just have all these people. It looks like they took file footage from, like, I need people seeing like a disaster, alien invasion. How do they react? Watch it from that viewpoint. That is probably Stacey Roberts singing that right there. She's the daughter of John Roberts, or because I don't think that's Kelly Hedden's voice.
It sounds impossible.
See, look, they're all just like looking at this weird golden tower. Like, this is some alien shit. Right? She's not happy. She's freaked out.
But you don't
Where's the wind coming from? Why has everybody got the Beyonce face?
have to believe it.
She's going to run on a rooftop. Scientology.
You can experience it.
Can experience it. Like, what? What? Oh, that guy had to take off his sunglasses. Oh, gross. That's Mount Kilimanjaro. London.
True power.
Paris. New building. I forget where this is. It's somewhere in America. Look at that thing. That's an old corporate office that's a fucking hellhole. And they're like, Scientology. It's an obelisk.
Of you.
Okay, this girl looks actually happy about something, but maybe she's just accepting her fate. You know, like the people in, oh man. What's the space alien movie with Will Smith? Where they, Randy Quaid, Will Smith. It's Independence Day. Independence Day. She looks like the girl on the roof of the music industry building right before the aliens just, blast them into oblivion. She looks like that girl. Like, well, this is the end. And they definitely wanted to show black people in this ad. Got to have black people, y'all. Got to have people of color. That's what people in 2024 want. Okay. So, oh, no, thank you. No, thank you, Scientology. Fuck off. Okay, so we're going to get rid of that. So we're going down the tree here. Now, this Rolling Stone article is very incomplete, Rolling Stone, very incomplete. But it's going to give you a little timeline here. And I want you guys to keep in mind a few things, okay, about the things I'm going to go over here, okay? So from allegations of abuse to lack of support for LGBT rights, look into why 10, these are just 10, former Scientologists decided to leave the church. Okay. So the first one, we're going back to 2009. We're going to go over the St. Petersburg Times. I have it right here on my tabs. Okay. Revealed a host of former high-level executives who shared their stories. Okay. If you've never read the St. Petersburg Times article, we're going to go over that just a tiny bit. We're going to touch on it. We're not going to go into the whole thing. Okay. Then in 2015, Going Clear came out based on the 2013 book by Lawrence Wright. Okay. And then just months after Going Clear came out, Leah's book came out. Right. And then the next year, 2016, her show debuted. Okay. So, Scientology's greatest blessings, its celebrity followers and devoted lifers have become their biggest liability. But how far back do the defections go? They didn't even get the whole story. Okay, so Ron DeWolf, he's here in the photo. He's L. Ron Hubbard Jr., okay? Born in 1934, was the son. He's now deceased, right? He left in 1959, guys. Ron DeWolf left in 1959. And that's why he changed it to his mother's maiden name, his last name, to DeWolf, right? He did a 1983 interview with Penthouse, and his breaking point with his father's involvement with the Russians, the magazine wrote, according to DeWolf, included in Hubbard's selling secrets and allowing the KGB to go through our files. Yeah, guys, all of these mind tricks and everything else that the KGB and Russia has been using for Cambridge Analytica, that's where they got it from. For a 40,000, this is pounds, fee. Okay. He was claimed he was involved with black magic, which we know absolutely to be true. And he once walked into a bedroom to find my father doing something to my mother. She was lying on the bed and he was sitting on her, facing her feet. He had a coat hanger in his hand and there was blood all over the place. Okay. We know what he was doing. Marty Rathbun. Okay. Right. He's a former Scientology executive, tech guru, and one-time Tom Cruise auditor, blah, 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 blah. Joined in 1970, spent 27 years. He left in 2004, telling Esquire in 2015 that really everybody I've dealt with would say they left Scientology because the abuses that they saw or participated in, the effect of that outweighed the benefits. Okay. One more disturbing sequences in Going Clear is Rathbun's account of Scientology executives in 2004 on Miscavige's orders, wrestling each other in a dire game of musical chairs. They played that out in the film. Okay, we have Jenna Miscavige, right? She left in 2005. Okay, so we have Marty, then Jenna. After years of issues with Scientology, her and her ex-husband left, right? She wrote her book in 2013. And she had to fill out, the life history. That was her worst thing. Amy Scobie. Okay, again, another person who joined in the 70s when she was 14. She left in 2005 also. 2005 saw a mass exodus of people, okay? Then we had Jason Begay, right? He left in 2008, okay? Then we had Mike Rinder. Of course, he left in 2005, 2007. So he left just before Jason, okay? His most what the fuck moment was in March on 2015 post on his website. He recounted an event that happened after he had already left the church. And this is when he got attacked by his ex-wife in a parking lot. That's the most WTF moment for Mike Rinder in Scientology. Tom DeVot. Okay, again, somebody who joined in the 70s and moved up the ranks. Okay. He left in 2009, was also interviewed for the St. Petersburg Times. Okay. We had Paul Haggis, right? Also left publicly in 2009. Oops. I did not. This is Lawrence Wright's article that he wrote. Okay. Okay. Then we had Ron Miscavige Sr., Ronnie Sr., right? And he left in 2012. Okay. Leah left in 2013. These are the 10 people they decided to highlight. Flunk Rolling Stone. But that's some of the people that I want to talk about today. Okay. So I brought up the Katie Holmes, Tom Cruise thing because, you know, their romance started right when all these people were leaving in 2005. Okay. They first got together, right, in 2005. So what was to distract from all those people leaving? Mike, Marty, you know, Jason Begay, all this stuff. Tom Cruise got a hot chick, everybody. Hot chick who he got pregnant before they got married. She had the baby, then they got married. And we all know what happened to Leah at the wedding. Okay. They were married. There's baby Suri. She's so adorbs. We're going to just scroll through they were seen everywhere together, just seemingly perfect. But you can see in all these pictures later in time how like disheveled and sad Katie became over the course of their relationship. Okay. Just less and less herself, right? Okay. Just like a prisoner of war. Okay. So she got divorced when? 2012, after an international Run Katie Run campaign for years. 4 years. Okay. Now, again, they couldn't keep that out of the news. Tom Cruise couldn't immediately get a new girlfriend and cover up all this other stuff because then right after that, Leah happened. Notice Tom Cruise hasn't had any major attachments since 2012, since Leah and the show and everything else. Every time there's some hullabaloo going on, Tom Cruise just ends up in the news for his relationship status and everything else. But he hasn't been able to keep a woman because all the women know, I don't want to fucking be a Scientologist. Okay. The first video we're going to play here, okay, is from 60 Minutes in 1985. They interviewed Paulette Cooper, but that's not the portion that I'm going to play here. Okay, we're going to play a small segment of this again. This is used with fair use under Section 107 Copyright Act of 1976. Okay, here we go.
But more recently, listen to what this woman says happened to her after she left Scientology and began to speak out.
I have been harassed. I have been sued twice. I have been followed. I have had people at my workplace try to get me fired who were Scientologists. I have had private investigators go to former employers and tell them I was a missing person and my parents were looking for me to find my address.
Earl Sullivan was for 8 years the personal public relations officer to L. Ron Hubbard himself.
She was the personal public relations officer to L. Ron Hubbard. Guess who took her place? Mike Rinder. Okay. No, she's not wearing a Santa suit. That's just the 80s fashion, Caroline. Come on, you remember that. But these are the tactics that people were using in the 1980s. This interview with Mike Wallace is from 1985. Okay. Now,
Because she so admired the man, she says, she ignored the negative aspects of Scientology.
right. So she was super in love with L. Ron and Scientology. So she didn't pay attention to the bad stuff.
I chose not to know things. There are things that don't quite add up. But when he tells you something, you believe it.
That's called being in a cult. That's a high control group.
Sullivan says that thousands of Scientologists are turning a blind eye to much of what goes on in Scientology.
Yes. You are made to not look.
They have chosen not to read the press about Scientology if it's negative. They have chosen not to question themselves. They have chosen not to question, why am I here?
Correct. Correct. Okay. This is another guy that they interview who was a Scientology sympathizer. He, changes his mind. Okay. Let's go to the next thing here. Now, this is Jesse Prince. I'm doing this in order. Okay. This is an interview from 1998. 1998. Jesse Prince. I want you to get his background here and understand. Again, used with fair use.
An open critic. What happened to you? I had to leave where I was living in Minneapolis, Minnesota. They started in with the surveillance, the private investigators, and then they threatened to sue me in Minneapolis for violating an agreement that I had signed with them when I left to never speak against them.
Yeah, they make everybody sign an agreement saying, I'm never, ever going to say anything bad about you, ever, ever, ever.
So I left Minnesota because there was no way I could legally defend myself there because there's no public awareness of Scientology. It would be a matter of reinventing the wheel and at great expense to remain in Minnesota. So,
right. He had to leave where he was living, where he had relocated, where he'd started a new life.
I filed a lawsuit against them in Riverside, California. And I was going to move to California, but it proved to be too dangerous.
What could possibly be dangerous about moving from Minnesota to California, Jesse? Do tell.
So, yeah, for me to live there.
So you decided to go to Colorado?
Yeah. But I hid out in Puget Sound for a while, and up with Bob in New Hampshire for a while, many weeks.
Yeah, that's a hard time.
Jesse was literally on the run from Scientology. They wouldn't let him just live a life. They wouldn't let him just live a life. Okay? When he left. We're going to get back to Jesse in a minute here. All right. This is Stacy Young. Again, from 1998. Okay? Thank you, German News, German News. I'm going to use your clip here. Please listen to what she has to say.
All right, I'm ready.
Look how, I want you guys to understand how afraid people who left are. This is 1998. I want you to see the absolute terror in this woman's eyes as she's describing her story.
Yeah, so we start with your name and what you...
My name is Stacy Young, and I got into Scientology in 1975, and I got out in 1989.
That's a good chunk of time.
So I was in for almost 15 years.
Okay. So for 15 years of her life, she was a dedicated hardcore Scientologist, right? I was in for 26 years. Okay.
What else do you want me to talk about?
And what kind of work did you have done for the organization?
What kind of work did you do for the organization?
What kind of
That's the
fields
question.
you have been working, how high or at which level?
Okay. When I first got into Scientology, I wanted to become an auditor.
That's what everybody wants to become when they first get into Scientology, right? That's the goal, because you get to help people. You're going to free them of their reactive mind. You're going to help them get rid of all their troubles. That's the best thing you can do on planet Earth.
Which is their form of counseling. And so I joined the Sea Organization.
She joined the Sea Org. Boom.
Which is their, basically it's the unincorporated group of people that actually...
It's very important that she said that, because the Sea Org does not exist. It is not a real organization. It does not exist on paper anywhere. It's just a group of people that are like, yeah, I'm doing this. You're not contracted anywhere. You are not, the Sea Org has no headquarters. It is not an organization.
Run Scientology. And I went out to Los Angeles and joined the Sea Organization there. And I did some training as an auditor, audited hundreds of hours.
Okay, so she got some auditing under her belt.
Hundreds of people. And then I became a supervisor of auditors, training people to audit.
Right? I did that.
And then I got into the Guardian's office.
And then she joined up with the GO, the Guardian's office. Let's hear her say what she says about that.
Which was the forerunner of the Office of Special Affairs. Correct.
That's what the Office of Special Affairs became.
I got in about a year after the big raid in 1977.
Okay. The big raid, again, to refresh everyone's memory, is when the FBI raided simultaneously every single Scientology church in the United States and took away all their files. After Scientology had pulled off the singularly largest infiltration of the United States government in the history of the United States.
When the FBI raided the intelligence departments of Scientology in Los Angeles and Washington, D.C.
Guys, I was a baby in 1977. I was 1. My mom was working for the GO. I didn't get taken away.
That was what led to the criminal indictments of the leadership of Scientology in 1978, for which 11 high-level Scientologists were convicted.
Including Mary Sue Hubbard, L. Ron Hubbard's wife, who after she was released from jail, never held another position in Scientology again, even after he died, even though she was the right-hand man to L. Ron Hubbard.
Of criminal wrongdoing.
And what was your job within this forerunner of the OSI?
I was in public relations. I was at that time in charge of personnel, in charge of getting new people into the Guardian's office, making sure that people were doing their jobs correctly.
She was in HCO. She was in the Hubbard Communications office, and she was a recruiter, right? She did all those things.
Taking care of them if they had personal problems, things like that.
Taking care of them. Sure, Stacy, come on.
But not handling critics or journalists or...
No, not at that time.
No, she wasn't handling journalists then. Nope.
Not at that time. Then I was, when the CMO, when the CMO took over the Guardian's office in 1981.
So that's the Commodore's Messenger org. Okay. They took it over in 1981.
My life changed fairly drastically, and I was soon thereafter promoted to Author Services, Inc.
Okay. So listen to the structure of Scientology in 1981. She went up to Author Services, Inc., ASI, which is supposedly a publications organization that is publishing L. Ron's non-fiction works. Okay.
Where David Miscavige was working, and it was from ASI that all of Scientology was being run at that time.
Okay. So Author Services, which is a front group for Scientology, was running all of Scientology via David Miscavige at that time. Not even close to any structure that L. Ron put out for the organizational chart for the top-down running. Okay. But David Miscavige was already doing that in 1981. This is 5 years prior to L. Ron's death.
When David Miscavige was in Author Services, I was promoted to be his organizing officer, is what it was called. That is the
That's right underneath him. She talked to him every single day, multiple times a day.
position from which, in a Scientology organization, you take care of the personnel, you take care of making sure that things are organized correctly and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you get all the communications. You make sure people aren't like distracting this person off their job. And if there's a task that needs to be done, you sort of like you're the front man. You're making sure all of the things are there for whatever task needs to be done.
And how long you worked for this catch directly or personally?
For almost 6 months. And during that time, it was in 1982.
Okay, so by 1982, this is her realization.
And it was then that I began to realize that the leadership of Scientology was totally corrupt. The leadership of Scientology didn't even believe in Scientology.
Okay, so what I said to you guys in my last stream, that David Miscavige is not a Scientologist. He doesn't practice Scientology. In 1998, Stacey Young is telling the world that in 1982, she knew David Miscavige was not a Scientologist. He was not practicing Scientology.
Who especially?
David Miscavige, Norman Starkey, Lyman Spurlock, Marty Rathbun. I mean, how many people do you want me to name?
And when did you
The
recognize
entire
that?
organization at the top of Scientology is completely corrupt. They find it laughable that people lower down in Scientology believe all this stuff.
Okay. In 1998, she spelled it out that even since the 1980s, people running the show of Scientology thought this is a fucking joke. These people are idiots. Okay. Let's go to the next thing here. This gentleman is Gary Scarf, RIP. He did pass away in 2017. He's a former OSA agent. This is, again, from the German news channel. This is a Peter Reich interview from March 12th, 1998. Okay, let's take a look at what Gary has to say.
Special affairs for the Secret Service.
Off and on, I wasn't that involved with OSA. I did some things that came under the tutelage of the Office of Special Affairs, but I wasn't that intimately involved with them until 1990 and 91 when
Okay, it's very hard to hear Gary, so I hope you guys can read the subtitles there. But he was like very cursorily involved until 1990 and 1991. This is a very important time because this is when the Office of Special Affairs was in high gear to do what? To destroy the IRS, okay? To destroy the IRS so that Scientology would get their tax exempt status. Okay. Thomas, I'm going to tell you this once. This is your one and only warning. Okay. I don't watch your really boring, terribly worded, uninformed show ever. So I don't take ideas from you because I don't watch your shit. Okay. So nice try, Thomas. If you're going to be in the chat, I'm going to give you a chance. If you want to ask questions and like sit quietly like a good boy, you can. Otherwise, you will be bounced and blocked. Okay. Like literally, I'm covering really important shit today and you don't know anything. Like you take one sentence and then you blow it out of proportion and you give your spin on it, right? You're not a former Scientologist. You didn't live this. You don't know any of these people. Please respect where you're at right now. Respect the space that you're in. You're getting an education. If you don't want that education, you want to continue spewing nonsense on the internet, it's America. You can do whatever you want. Otherwise, shh, shh, shh. The adults are talking. Okay? Thank you. That's your one and only chance, Thomas. Okay.
they decided they wanted to destroy the Cult Awareness Network.
Okay. So it's not Culturist Network, it's the Cult Awareness Network. This is something that Scientology was battling through the whole 90s.
What is the kind of awareness network?
The Cult Awareness Network is a national organization, very legitimate organization that reached out to families and people that were affected by religious cult organizations.
Right. So prior to this time where Scientology crushed the Cult Awareness Network and then bought them, it was a legit organization where you could call and say, I think my kid or my relative is in a cult. What can I do? And they had resources and they could get people to help you and all this stuff. It was actually a really fantastic organization. It is now owned by Scientology. It is not doing what he said, what their original intention was.
They were also a national clearinghouse information for churches, schools, community centers, for law enforcement people wanting to know more about cults.
See, it was a resource for law enforcement at the time.
And how important was that organization?
It was an extremely important organization. It was really the only legitimate organization that one could call to get legitimate information on a religious organization or cult organization.
Correct. You couldn't get there was no internet at this time, guys. You have to realize that. So you could call this hotline and get real solid information about cults. Okay.
And because the Cult Awareness Network saw Scientology as one of the most terroristic, aggressive, intimidating cults, Scientology decided to pour all their money and aggressive efforts into destroying the Cult Awareness Network.
This is very true. They were on a campaign, okay? And they were on a campaign to absolutely obliterate the Cult Awareness Network because it was giving people facts. Even Scientologists could call in and there was no retribution for them, right? They could call these people and get real information and start deprogramming themselves. They had to take this out, okay?
By bankrupting it financially, by suing it, they filed well over 35 to 40 lawsuits.
35 to 40 lawsuits against one organization.
Against the organization, to tie it up in court, to force it to pay attorney's fees and court costs, and to bankrupt it. And also to attack members of the organization. For example, they ordered me to go and murder 2 of the top members of the Cult Awareness Network.
Did you hear that correctly? Let's play it again because the autocorrect, the closed captioning is not incorrect. So I'm going to go back here to what Gary says.
Lawsuits against the organization, to tie it up in court, to force it to pay attorney's fees and court costs, and to bankrupt it. And also to attack members of the organization. For example, they ordered me to go and murder 2 of the top members of the Cult Awareness Network.
They ordered him to murder people.
One being the national director, and the other one being an attorney who had brought litigation against Scientology that was a member of the Cult Awareness Network. Now suggestions have been made by Scientologists that one, well, we were just testing his faith to see if he would really do it, to see.
Okay. Yes, murder. That's what he said. So now Scientology is saying it was a faith test to see if he would, like, we don't want murder. We just wanted to see how devoted he was.
How faithful he was with Scientology. The other suggestion has been made, well, we were just joking. We would never tell anyone to do that.
Just kidding. We tell people to murder people all the time. That's a joke.
Scientology does not joke.
No. Scientology does not joke. That is the truest statement ever been uttered about Scientology.
Particularly within OSA. They don't joke.
Within OSA, not Amazon. OSA. OSA.
When they tell you to do something, you do it.
When they tell you to do something, you do it.
And if you don't do it, then you're thrown off your post and you're punished.
And if you don't do it, then you're thrown off your post and you're punished.
They don't joke like that in Scientology.
And how dangerous do you think is the Office of Special Affairs under?
How dangerous do you think the Office of Special Affairs is?
It's a
Under Mike Rinder.
very dangerous organization. Scientology is the most horrendous, terroristic cult, criminal organization that exists today, primarily because it puts so much money into its public relations efforts.
Okay. This is in, again, 1998. Gary Scarf telling everyone how criminally driven the cult of Scientology is, particularly the Office of Special Affairs under Mike Rinder.
It uses its celebrity members to promote this wonderful church that it is. They have no problem with deceiving, misrepresentation, or
Okay. They use celebrities to promote this glorious church, but they have no problem deceiving, right? Misrepresentation
lying about what they're up to.
or lying.
They have very strong belief in acceptable truth.
They have a very strong belief in acceptable truth. Acceptable truth. That is the dogma of Scientology.
Acceptable truth meaning that if I convince you, if I'm lying to you, but I convince you that I'm telling you the truth, then that is acceptable truth and it's okay.
See, so if I'm lying to you and I convince you that I'm telling the truth, then that is an acceptable truth and that's okay. That's okay. Okay? Now, We'll go into this a little bit further here.
which is why they spend hundreds of thousands of dollars lobbying our congressmen,
Hundreds of thousands of dollars. This is 90s dollars. Hundreds of thousands of dollars lobbying our Congress people,
our senators,
senators,
pulling the wool, so to speak, over the eyes of Madeleine Albright.
Remember in the 90s under Clinton when Madeleine Albright suddenly became like this staunch defender of Scientology? Yeah.
And our service, our U.S. Foreign Service Department. Because right now, Madeleine Albright has made statements condemning Germany for the persecution of Scientology.
Yep. She did make those statements in the 90s. Okay. Let's see here. Let's go here.
And is there a direct influence from the Office of Special Affairs headquarters here in Los Angeles?
So is there a direct influence from the Office of Special Affairs headquarters here in Los Angeles?
For Germany, for German critics, for German government people who are against Scientology or try to inform the public about the real background.
So is there like a department here in LA specifically targeting Germany? That's what he's asking.
Of Scientology.
I don't understand your question.
How do they get the order? Are there the same things going on in Germany against critics, organized from here than here in the United States? Is it the same quality?
You have to understand that anything that happens throughout the world with the Office of Special Affairs always comes out of Los Angeles.
Anything that happens around the world with the Office of Special Affairs always comes out of Los Angeles. And what is located in Los Angeles, kids? Mike Rinder's former office, OSA International, is located right on Hollywood Boulevard on top of what? The Life Exhibition, which is another front group. Okay. Now, here's somebody we haven't seen in forever. Also, this is Frank Oliver, also interviewed by Peter Reichelt. I'm probably saying that wrong. I apologize, Peter. And this is from December of 1998. I want you guys to listen, in case you've never seen this interview, what Frank has to say.
So what's your name? Where are you from? And what was your profession within Scientology?
My name's Frank Oliver. I'm from Miami, and I used to be the investigations officer for the Church of Scientology at their Miami office.
So he was an investigations officer in Miami.
I was involved in Scientology from 1986 until 1992.
Okay, so he had a little bit shorter time, right? He's only there 6 years. In 6 years, here's what happened.
6 years.
Yes.
Okay.
Got to fix this microphone here.
No, 95 million BC.
So
We'll do the intro again.
Okay.
It was fine.
It was fine, the intro, yeah?
Okay.
Oh, the intro was fine. That means you worked for OSA, for the Office of Special Affairs. What is the Office of Special Affairs?
Originally, when I started in Scientology, I worked in another area of Scientology. I was recruited for the Office of Special Affairs.
Okay, so he was recruited, but what happened?
In 1989, after having assisted the Office of Special Affairs on certain projects.
Okay, so he started in 1986 as something totally else and then got recruited, okay, in 1989, 3 years after he started in Scientology, okay?
The Office of Special Affairs is set up in Scientology with two purposes in mind. One is the Office of Special Affairs to handle PR, and the other is
That's public relations.
investigation. One works hand in hand with the other. Where there are areas that the church believes are detrimental to society, for example, in the areas of psychiatry, in the areas of the IRS, abuse maybe, Scientology sets up their investigative machine to work and then uses the information that they garner from that with their PR machine.
Okay. So they do these very noisy, and sometimes discreet investigations. And then once they gather up all that info, right, they use it in their PR machine, in their public relations machine. Okay.
That they have, which is what they go out and they try and publicize this information. Now, it's not for the purpose of the general good of the populace.
Oh, it's not? Frank? What, their PR isn't for the general good of the populace?
It's very self-serving.
This is correct. It's very self-serving.
They go after the IRS and its IRS abuses because the IRS opposed Scientology.
Right. They didn't care that the IRS was, issuing false, audits on randos. They didn't care that the IRS was, that the tax code was all fucked up. No, they just hated them because they didn't like Scientology.
They go after psychiatry because Hubbard, in essence, wanted to take over.
Oh, Thomas, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to ask you to leave now. First of all, this just shows, I really want, I'm going to take the share screen off here. Thomas, this just shows how absolutely nothing you know about Scientology. Okay. The Sea Organization, at the time that I joined in 1995, consisted of about 8,000 members worldwide. I worked at one organization at Celebrity Center International, starting in 1995. Okay. And I left after trying to unalive myself in 2002 via the Rehabilitation Project Force. Okay. So when you just say blanket statements, Nora was in the Sea Org. You're correct. I was in the Sea Org when this happened. But then to come and say, now I'm pretending to be a radical activist, right, is just, I need a big mirror. Well, I do need a big mirror because I'm fat, but that's a whole other story. Like, Thomas, you know nothing about Scientology. Like, tell me you haven't even watched Going Clear without telling me. Like, this is just sad. This is just literally shows the dregs of society that are out there just grasping, hoping for clicks when they're talking about Scientology, or trying to throw a survivor like myself under any available bus. Okay. You mean nothing, Thomas. Go back and read my posts that I wrote, because unlike you, I have been in the forefront of talking about and trying to take down Scientology very publicly for well over a decade. Okay. On behind the scenes on Leah's show as an associate producer, and also doing worldwide press telling my very vulnerable story of almost trying to unalive myself in disgusting conditions on the Rehabilitation Project Force. You, sir, are an internet stalker who enjoys making fun of trauma survivors. You are disgusting. And you are no longer welcome here because you can't be civil, and you actually don't have, a desire to learn anything about which you choose to speak on exclusively. Okay. So Thomas, you're blocked. I know you're still watching, but you will not be able to comment. Okay. Here, because you're blocked on the channel now. Okay. I tried. I gave you a chance. Everybody saw me. I have, hundreds of witnesses here that I gave you a fair shake in trying to, tell you you're here to listen. You're here to learn, Thomas. You're not here to learn me on something that you don't know anything out. Okay. So you're not welcome here anymore. Okay. You can't sit with us. All right. Let's get back to Frank, because what Frank's saying is very, very important. Okay. Back to Frank. Here we go. Oh no, I didn't want that comment to come up again. Let me just delete that off of my thing here. Here we go. Bye. All right, here we go.
For the mental health business when he started and founded Scientology way back when it was Dianetics. My goal as an investigations officer was to do the work asked of me in investigating people that were perceived enemies of the church.
Okay, so his job was to investigate people that were perceived enemies of the Church of Scientology.
For example?
An example would be the Cult Awareness Network.
Okay, here's another guy besides Gary that was sent in to attack the Cult Awareness Network.
What is the cult?
The Cult Awareness Network was an organization that was set up by the daughter of Leo Ryan, who was a congressman who went to Africa where Jim Jones had his People's Temple.
Okay, so this congressman actually investigated a deadly cult. Okay. If you guys don't know what the expression "don't drink the Kool-Aid" means, it comes from Jim Jones and the People's Temple. He tried to set up a utopia in South America, because it wasn't Africa, Frank, it was South America. And then when they were going to get raided by the FBI and people were coming in to like rescue their family that they hadn't seen, he put cyanide, was it cyanide or arsenic? One of those two, I can't remember, into the Kool-Aid and had all of his followers, including small children, drink it. Okay.
And he was killed in the massacre and in the mass suicide. His daughter set up this organization to help to be a clearinghouse of information.
Yeah, that congressman was killed by them because he went there to investigate it.
To help family members of individuals who were involved in dangerous cults. They were big in getting this information out to people. Scientology perceived the Cult Awareness Network as an enemy. So their goal was to destroy the Cult Awareness Network.
Right? Because someone who lost her father to this dangerous cult merely because he was investigating it, decided that no one else should lose their family members because of lack of information. Okay?
The methods that they used to do that was they would have individuals like myself and other individuals in Scientology join the Cult Awareness Network, which I was a member of the Cult Awareness Network.
See, you get it from the inside, y'all. You get them from the inside.
To gather information about what they had on Scientology.
Right? Just like my dad. My dad, during Operation Snow White, took a job, because he was not in the Guardian's office, guys. I'm going to keep repeating that until I fucking die. But they hired my dad. He's good looking. He was funny. He was affable, to get a job inside of the state capital of California in Sacramento, so that he would have access. He had a job in the mailroom so that he could get access to the building. And then my father hid out in the women's bathroom until after they closed the whole building, hid out in a stall, and then opened the window for other people to come in and steal the documents with him. Okay? It's always an inside job. It's always follow the money, follow the new people, follow the things. Okay? People and organizations get infiltrated by good-looking, fun, nice people all the time. This is why spies are good-looking. They're not horrifically looking, like people. They blend. They make friends, right?
They would attend the national functions. They would try and infiltrate the organization. They were involved in a massive campaign of lawsuits against the Cult Awareness Network because they actively wanted to join the Cult Awareness Network, and the Cult Awareness Network denied membership to members of Scientology. In 1991, I was sent to Los Angeles to...
Yeah, they were never going to let Scientology be a former member of the Cult Awareness Network. But they wanted that because then they could be like, see, we're not a cult. We're helping people get out of cults.
assist in investigating the Cult Awareness Network to destroy it. I was flown to Los Angeles, where I stayed there for approximately 2.5 months, where as soon as I got there, we established a room at the base in Los Angeles, where the Office of Special Affairs domestic operation was.
Okay, special room dedicated.
It's in it's on the second floor or the third floor, I don't recall right now, of the building on L. Ron Hubbard Way, and across the street from Asho. And
okay, do you guys know where that is? If we go to Asho, it's right across the street. They had a special building. It's the one where like the IAS offices and all that stuff, just blacked out windows. It's just fucking nothing in there, except for CIA.
there, Basically, there was an entire unit set up. It had people handling PR, it had people handling investigation. We had the attorneys right down the hall. Kendrick Moxon was the attorney that was
Oh, Kendrick Moxon, still there.
Involved in this. And we had the high-level people from OSA Int directly involved in this. At the same time, there were other projects that were related to the CAN unit. For example, the surveillance of Hannah and Jerry Whitfield.
Okay, Hannah Whitfield, and I didn't put up footage of her, and I should have, and I apologize, Hannah, I love you. So Hannah Whitfield was captain of one of the 3 ships that L. Ron Hubbard was running as his mini flotilla around the Mediterranean while he was avoiding taxes. Okay, she was one of the very original Sea Org members, recruited by L. Ron himself, personally invited to join the Sea Organization by L. Ron Hubbard. She is also a very, very adept cult deprogrammer and has been working since the 80s to deprogram and rescue people from Scientology and other cults. She's an amazing, amazing human being. But again, this is surveillance. This man was only in the Sea Org for 6 years, and he's put on the Cult Awareness Network and on surveilling, at that time, one of the largest enemies of Scientology, right?
Which I was involved in.
Who's that?
Hannah and Jerry Whitfield are former members of Scientology. Hannah Whitfield at one time was the 2nd person in charge of Scientology when Hubbard was still alive.
Yeah. Yeah. So she knows a lot of stuff, y'all.
She was on the original ship with Hubbard. She left the organization and has been speaking out against Scientology for many years. Her and Jerry have become exit counselors to help people recover from the experience of having been in cults and to help people leave cults once they're.
Yeah, and they are amazing, amazing, amazing humans. As a matter of fact, I want to find some footage of Hannah here real quick, okay? Okay, so this is from, let's see here. Okay, so this is, she's been speaking out a long time. She's been at many symposiums, many different things. She's talked about a lot of stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out which one I want to show. Actually, this is Scientology's hate website. Like, how do you hate on this woman? Look at her. This is Mark Bunker's interview with her, right? Yeah, they provide exit counsel.
We started being followed by private investigators pretty much everywhere we went. We started noticing the cars behind us. You can pick up. Once you realize that there is surveillance, you get attuned to it very quickly. You can
just listen to her voice. Like, I want her to record like a calm app, just like to talk me to sleep, like a guided meditation. I love her so much. I met her in person in 2015 at a conference in Toronto, and she and Spanky and Tori really helped me during that time. I was very emotionally overwhelmed with telling my story, and I'll never forget the kindness and love that Hannah showed me in that moment. I have so much love in my heart for her. She's just a dear, dear person.
Pick it up. And at times there were like 6 and 7 cars, one following us, then he would peel off, another would take his place, and he would peel off, and a third would take his place. And we got fairly good at spotting them.
And that's just for her and her husband, right?
It was a little.
Now, put a 1 in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat if prior to this, you had ever even heard of Hannah. Okay. Let's just find out how far reaching has Hannah's message been. It's now 2024. This footage is from 10 years ago, from 2014. Has anyone heard of Hannah? Does anybody besides, okay, Traveltology, thank you. But nobody talks about her anymore. Nobody gives Hannah or Jesse props. Okay, well, you guys have.
A little distressing to me. I didn't like it. And especially getting away on interventions became difficult.
Right? Because they're just trying to leave with the person so that they help this person leave, right? And they're being followed everywhere.
But we didn't have any real bad harassment on interventions. The bad harassment started in 1991, which gave us a good run, actually. And we were seeing maybe 6 to 8 families a year.
6 to 8 families a year she was helping people escape. Between when she left, I believe, I can't remember what year she left. I think it was in the 70s till 1991. She had a good long decade of, getting people out. 6 to 8 people per year. Sometimes it was multiple people in one family. Okay. For a decade. That's, 60, 70, possibly more. Between 60 and 80 people she personally got out in a decade. But that's how long it takes, guys.
One a month, one or more a month. And most of them were successful. We were doing well, traveling mostly around the United States, I think once to Australia and once to England in that time period. And then in 1991 it got hairy. And I think that if Marty Rathbun and Mike Rinder ever decide to talk about this, they will talk about some of the operations that were launched against us. Because
Hannah, who did you just talk about? If who talks about it? Oh, Marty and Mike. They might talk about the operations that were launched against them. Put a 1 in the chat if anyone has heard Marty Rathbun or Mike Rinder ever utter a word about what they did to Hannah and her husband. Anyone? Anyone? Bueller? No. They didn't talk about Mike still isn't talking about the operations. Marty's been paid off. Marty's been paid off. Okay, so Hannah's been doing this a long time. Where was I? We did Gary. We did this one. Okay, now let's, and there's a part in here which I didn't get to where he talks about, I have to go down here. Okay. Right. Okay, so let's go here because we have a ways to go. Oh.
I made copies of every single one of them. And I put together a pack of information of all the critical information that was available. I mean, I put it together, bound it, and the suppressors were trying to keep for it. Well, they're not real organized when it comes to investigations officers. At least they weren't at the time because there's so few of us in the country at the time. There was maybe, I don't know. They're the ones in the shadows finding out the dirt on everyone and everything. Critics, and bringing that to the PR so the PR can use it to make Scientology look good and to make them look, the other person look bad. Right. So that's how it works. They work.
That's the dead agent pack that he's talking about.
With each other. In some cities, the
DSA, the Director of Special Affairs. Let me go here. Private investigators. Anybody speaking critically. Okay, here we go.
things that I would normally have never done. So the church uses that.
How is the
members and they are speaking out critically of the church. That's what you told me. I'm basing my actions on what you've told me. you have lied to me. You have put me at risk. You have made me do things that I would normally have never done. So the church uses that.
How is the Office of Special Affairs, the Secret Service of Scientology, organized from the top up going down? And who are the top officials of the Secret Service?
Your top guy is Mike Rinder.
Okay. This is Frank telling us in 1998 that the top guy is Mike Rinder.
He's the executive director of the Office of Special Affairs.
He's in charge for all spy projects, for all...
He knows everything that's going on. And above
He knows everything that's going on.
him is David Miscavige.
And above him is David Miscavige. Okay. They might have talked to her on the Fair Game podcast. I don't know what Mike said to her or not on that. I didn't listen to that episode, but I'll check it out, Stacey. So again, just for the people in the back.
Mike Rinder. He's the executive director of the Office of Special Affairs.
He's in charge for all spy projects.
He's in charge for all spy projects. This is the interviewer asking that.
He knows everything that's going on. And
he knows everything that's going on.
Above him is David Miscavige.
And above him is David Miscavige. Okay. And this is someone who worked for Mike Rinder. This is his understanding of what Mike Rinder does and doesn't know. Okay. Now, this is they were trying to do a thing about Happy Valley. This is the one where Mike Brown talks about he was the cameraman, like standing in front of the guy's car, the German guy's car. Here's some footage of that.
More understanding image in recent years. But critics insist that RPF camps continue to exist today.
Okay, this was filmed again in 1998. In 1998, the world was like, the RPF? Oh, hell no. Okay? And Scientology tries to say, oh, we don't do that. We don't have that. That's not a thing. I went to the RPF guys in 2000.
Sworn affidavits point to one at this site, a multi-acre spread near Palm Springs, which the church calls the Castile Canyon School.
Okay, so this is where the RPF was located, far, far, far away. They put them at the ranch.
What is the Castile Canyon School?
Oh, who's answering the questions? Of course, it's the public relations officer, Mike Rinder.
It's a school for the children of Sea Org members. We have...
Whenever Mike lies, his eyebrows go way high, and he tries to look very affable.
seen sworn statements this also is an RPF camp. Is that true? There are RPF people there, yeah.
Eyebrows. So it's a half truth. He didn't do big eyebrows. It's just a little half eyebrow. There are RPF people there.
ABC asked Mike Rinder if we could take our cameras and go to the school to talk to those inside, but he refused.
With a helicopter.
Earlier when...
Okay. They're yelling at him. They won't let them go further. We've seen this footage before. Okay. Now, just to show you guys what happened in the early days. Okay. This is another film from Mark Bunker. This is a little tribute he made to Tori in 2006. Okay.
I'm here with my horns on because now I'm a declared SP. So I decided to wear my horns just as proof. So I can't yell, but I can always point my ears. And a lot of people know who Tori Bazazian is.
Right? Because she used to be sent out by Mike Rinder to get in the face of protesters.
And here we go. See, I'll show you. See? It's like Tori Bazazian. Devil. What's happening?
See? This is when Tori was like first out after she flipped sides.
Happening here. And they might think about it. You know, they might go, what the hell is that? How come Tori's out there in the alley with horns on? Something's weird. You see what I mean? It might even be better than yelling. Because they...
Okay. And then we're going to get into some music that I cannot play. Now, when I first got out, okay, when I first escaped, there were two sites that were predominant in the world. This one is the earliest one that was put up since 1996, Operation Clambake. It is still here. Here's the website, guys. Okay. All right. They're on, they're not, you know, they haven't posted anything on Twitter, but here they are. Okay. You could come here on Operation Clambake. These are the things that they link to now. Okay. But you would see all these kinds of things. We're going to go over this Mike Rinder Speaks Out Part 1 and Part 2. It's very important. Okay. But it gives you all the things here, all these truths, all these hard truths. Okay. That you would find out. And of course, it's at xenu.net. Operation Clambake. I did not know what Xenu was at the time, but this was the #1 site on Scientology when you Googled Scientology back in 2004. Back in 2004. Okay. Now, this is Heber Gents. This is from 2008. Okay. And actually, this is from Leslie Stahl's. This is from an earlier interview. But when they say that they were going hard at the Cult Awareness Network, listen to Heber Gents. This is the president of Scientology International. He is now in a probably memory care or hospice facility somewhere in the California desert, just outside the Gold Base. I would love to have somebody help me locate him because I would love to help free him from that horrific place and maybe reunite him with some form of family or something. I'm sure he is there literally all on his own. Okay. So.
That sort of thing.
Jench accuses Can of kidnapping people out of cults.
So Heber Jench is saying that the Cult Awareness Network kidnaps people out of cults.
Then trying to deprogram them. Defenders of the practice call these rescues, which are perfectly legal when they involve youngsters under 18.
Okay. So rescuing somebody from a high control group is legal. Okay. When it is someone's child.
But Scientology says Can was involved in illegal deprogramming of adults. And they sent us reams of documents they say are examples.
Okay. When I was in the Sea Organization in 1995, we were all deathly afraid of Can. Can was like the N-word. It was really bad. They could come get us at any time. That's why if like any of your family was, you know, like in any way kind of like, oh, we don't like Scientology, we're not sure about that, we had to really be careful and make sure they didn't know about the Cult Awareness Network and try to get us like kidnapped and deprogrammed, right?
Including the sworn declaration of a former deprogrammer named Mark Bloxham.
I've got it right here. Mark Bloxham said he was involved in a number of...
And that's Kendrick Moxon. Mark Bloxham, total real guy, right? Totally not made up by Scientology.
Kidnappings. He said he was involved in one with Cynthia Kisser, where he actually worked for Can. He got many referrals from Can. He said most of his referrals were from Can.
So we tracked down Mark Bloxham.
Oh, here he is. Look at this guy.
About it. How would you describe that sworn declaration of yours?
It's embellished, to say the least.
Oh, Scientology took liberties with someone's words? What?
It's not true.
You lied.
Yes, I did.
Oh, you lied.
Why did you lie?
I saw it as a means to maybe support my habit.
What habit did you have, Mr. Bloxham?
Says he was a drug addict when he signed that declaration 5 years ago after he was approached by one of Moxon's private detectives.
So he's a druggie and some private detective approaches him and is like, bro, you need money for the stuff? I have money. We need you to say these things. Say magic words.
Bloxham maintains there was an implied promise of money, which never materialized, if he could implicate Can and Kisser in illegal deprogramming.
Okay. Then listen to this stuff.
Of their victims, that sort of thing.
Jench accuses Can of kidnapping people.
Oh, it's the same clip again. I apologize. Heber Gents. Now, the other website that you could go to is this one, Scientology-cult.com. Okay. Now, this was the one that I got aggravated. I'm going to be honest, because we are a think tank of loyal Scientologists formed around the recognition that Scientology's problems trace directly to the hidden corruption and criminality of David Miscavige, the self-appointed dictator who subverted Scientology. So you guys have to understand that most people who were devout Scientologists, when they left, this was their first stop. Scientology-cult, where they continued to believe in Scientology, in the teachings of L. Ron, and banded together, and they were only speaking about David Miscavige, right? Because he fucked up their shit. He fucked up their nice shit. Okay? One such person, when he first came out, of course, was Steve Hall, who is still very much a devout Scientologist. He worked very closely with Jefferson Hawkins, okay, in the publications department, right? Here's all these pictures of him in his cool car and all this stuff. Here he is with a bunch of old timers, okay? There's Dan Kuhn and his wife, Mariette. These are all super old-timey who are independent Scientologists, okay? This was the camp that he, fell into, right? All of these people, fucking Colwell, man. I knew Colwell. That guy, don't get me started on Colwell. Anyway, right? So you could go here and you could realize that David Miscavige was a real, real bad guy. Okay? And that Scientology is still okay as long as you are practicing it in the right way, in the Scientology way. But then if we go back, right? If we just go back to Jesse, okay, to Stacy, what are we finding out? Scientology is a joke. Scientology does not work. Scientology is known to not work by the senior executives. They think it's hilarious that all these people pay all this money for something that is completely useless. Okay? So, let's go here. This is the Tampa Bay Times article. Okay? It was part 1 and part 2. It was such a large article. They had to do it in part 1 and part 2. Okay? So, June 21st and the 22nd. Okay? So we go to part 1. Oh, please let me read the article. Okay. And they're not going to let me read this. So this is by Thomas Tobin. If you guys can find a copy of it, it goes over all of the people that left at that time. Okay. And these are more defectors that left. Mike Rinder's in there. Marty Rathbun's in there. Some other flag executives are in there. Okay. High-ranking defectors provide an unprecedented inside look at Scientology, its leader, and the Lisa McPherson case. Okay. This is where we got down to the nitty-gritty, because at this time, again, this is from 2019. Okay. This got published in 2019. This was the biggest thing since sliced bread, that all these people that had a hand in Lisa McPherson's case were coming forward publicly in a newspaper and in various media outlets after this to discuss publicly their involvement in the cover-up of Lisa McPherson's case, etc. Okay, but still not like full disclosure. Okay, so then let's look here. This is from 2009. We're going to go over some more of these messages. This is on ex-Scientology message board. Okay. Ex-Scientology message board was also a place you could go as an ex-Scientologist to kind of like find people, talk to people, try and really like understand what was going on, hook up with people that were still like free zoners, get some auditing somewhere from somebody, whatever, or just like, hey, this is my story. And then people would like talk to you about your story. And like, it's just like a community. Okay. This is from Finally Free, Gold Meritorious Patron. I don't know what the fuck that means. It's just a joke. Anonymous message to Mike Rinder. Today at 8:58 p.m., Anonymous has called on Mike Rinder to step up and spill more of the beans about the fraud and abuse witnessed inside corporate Scientology. And And so this is a written statement of what Anonymous said at that time. Okay. I'm going to show you the video that Anonymous put out. Okay.
Mindcontrol. This is Anonymous. We applaud your recent statements to the St. Petersburg Times. It was quite revealing for many people to hear how David Miscavige mistreats people on such a regular basis.
Yeah, David Miscavige, bad man. So we went from, in the 90s, people talking about specific operations that they did. We had Frank tell about specific operations. Gary Scarf talk about specific operations. Stacey Young talk about specific operations. Hannah talking about the operations that were run on her. Okay? And now, the 2009 Tobin article just talks about how bad David Miscavige is, a bad man. He's a bad man. Okay? And we go from this shift in the anti-Scientology universe, okay? Mike Rinder leaves in 2005, okay? And slowly, the narrative in the world of anti-Scientology goes from these specific operations that were being run by OSA, that were being, commanded by L. Ron, and then David Miscavige, all this stuff. And now we're just going to talk about how David Miscavige is a tiny tyrant. Okay? This narrative has now been being pushed for 14 years by 2019 when the Tampa Bay Times article comes out. Okay? So let's finish this up here.
During our campaign.
So I take that back. The Tampa Bay Times article was not 2019, it was 2009. So it was 4 years after Mike left.
Against the cult of Scientology, we have been speaking with many ex-Scientologists, many of whom have had the misfortune to be on the receiving end of this abuse.
Okay, so Anonymous is out there protesting like all over the place constantly. And people are showing up to protest with Anonymous who were in fact ex-Scientologists to tell them thank you and to tell them more specifics about what had happened to them. So when the 2009 Tampa Bay Times article came out and all these former senior execs are just singing the same song, David Miscavige is a bad man, David Miscavige hit me in the face, David Miscavige is a meanie beanie. Anonymous called Mike Rinder out.
They felt slightly vindicated when that article was printed.
Right, because at least there was truth about some shenanigans that had gone on.
For many years, you were the head of Scientology's terrorist wing.
Yeah, that's an act. Thank you, Anonymous. You took the words right out of my mouth.
The OSA, which has ruined the lives of many more people than David Miscavige assaulted and abused.
Correct. OSA has ruined more lives than David Miscavige has personally abused.
We'd like to add our voice to those of all the ex-Scientologists who plainly think you owe them more than a single damning article on the poodle.
Yes.
We shudder to think the threats.
That is Shelley right there, I believe, next to Ray Midoff. He's a tall man, Ray Midoff. He's gone now. He's like sewing stuff or something.
Scientology has made against you, but you know your testimony can bring about such dramatic and positive change. We urge you to come forward for all those people who once you counted as friends. Many are still living miserable lives.
There's Mark Headley pretending to be Jesus with Larry what's-his-face there as the Scientologist.
In appalling conditions. Those people whose lives have been torn apart. Those people whose businesses you...
That's flag there. Look at all those happy culties.
You destroyed. The families of those who have mysteriously died. Those individuals still held captive in Scientology's desert compound.
Yep, there are people still held captive there.
They deserve more. The information you still hold secret can set...
Okay, here's David. Let me see. There's Ray Midoff. That's Guillaume. There's Norman Starkey. I forget his name. That's not Mark Yeager. I forget who that is. There's Ronnie Jr. There's Mark. I forget who that was. Yeah, but this is like an event. Look, 1998 event. Okay, that's New Year's. They're all dressed up in their penguin suits. Look at all this stolen valor. All these people pretending to be officers in a fake space navy.
Set them free. So, Mike Rinder, come forward and be counted amongst those people who finally tell the truth. There is, and can never be any.
Okay, so you got David Miscavige. These are the people who got to sit at the captain's table. There's, I believe that's Mark. There's Norman. No, that's Ray Midoff. God, I can't remember who that is right there. There's Guillaume. There's Marty Rathman. Hey, Marty. I forget this guy's name. Oh, that's Ronnie Jr. Sorry, I don't know who this guy is. Oh, is that Mike Rinder? Yes, it is.
Any shame in simply telling the truth. Do it for those whose lives have been ruined. Do it for all their families. Do it because you should feel completely rotten for holding it in.
Do it because you should feel. Greg Wilhair, thank you. There you go. Thank you, Cece. Yeah, do it because you should feel totally wrong for holding it in.
We are anonymous. Expect us.
Okay. So they called him out. Where did my interviews go? There's Jesse. Okay. So here's the, oh, that's part 2. Where did my part 1 go? Okay. I got things mixed up here. I forgot. I didn't move everything around in the right way. So Mike Rinder did a part 1 and part 2, okay, of him speaking out. So let's watch this here.
Well, he was a Church of Scientology mastermind, the mouthpiece.
Okay, this is in 2010. Actually, we have to go. I've had those in an order for a reason. Okay, so I'm going to come back to these in a second. So that anonymous calling him out is 2009. Okay, here is Marty Rathman. Oh, look who started his blog. This is the very first post. It's him and Jason Begay in 2009. Now, as we know, Marty left in 2004. 5 years later, Marty started his blog. Okay. I bring up this post. That's me, ex-RPFer. This is not the first post I made on his blog. Right. So this is a post that Marty wrote. I'm going to go back up. So many comments, but that's me, ex-RPFer. That was me on his blog. Okay. Golden age of reduced extortion demands. This is an email that Patty Sims put out on 2009, basically saying, guys, we figured it out why people who left are bogged and they can't go back up the bridge. They just can't pay their freeloader debts. We figured out there was off policy and we want you guys to come back and negotiate your freeloader deal so you can get back on the bridge. Get back on the bridge. Okay? There were so many ex-SO in the field who are in need of assistance getting back on lines, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so I, way down here, because I was not the first commenter that day, I used to try and get in there and be like, first comment, like that kind of idiotic thing back in 2009. But I was still very much, in 2009, I was not really speaking out. Right? Look at all the people, Mark Fisher, all these people were commenting. Everybody was at Marty's blog. It was the place to be. It was where you went to say all the shit and disagree with Marty and all this stuff, right? Now, Marty put that up, not because he was like, hey, don't pay your freeloader debt because it's bullshit. He put that up in 2009 because, look, even fucking Alonzo's in there. Because he was like, hey, maybe we can fix it from the inside. He was always and never varied from his faith in Elron and the technology, but always a Miscavige basher from day one. Okay. So I said, this email just makes my blood boil. When I first left, I thought I would just pay my debt, do my conditions, and get right back in there like a good little soldier. And at first, I was flowing money on a weekly basis. And then I started to think about it. Why the hell was I doing that? If I added up all of my production hours at just a minimum wage rate, not calculating in the overtime rate, the church would owe me money. I dare anyone out there to do it. Just give yourself 13 hours a day, 6 days a week, and 10 on Sundays, just to be nice for those few Sundays where you actually got to do CSP, and then do 360 days a year to factor in the average of 5 days off a year. that a SEERG member gets and give yourself the minimum wage of $5.50 and see which number is bigger. Okay? See which number is bigger. Yeah, they owed me. I sent them a bill. They owed me money. Okay? So for all those people who say, I haven't been speaking out, I didn't say stuff until I came on YouTube, you can go fuck yourself. This is me. All right. As you guys can clearly see, documented by my same writing style now. I haven't changed. Okay. So then who starts their blog? These are out of order. Oh, no, they're not. Okay. So Mike starts his new blog, and where did it go? Oh, I have this. Okay. So Mike started his blog a couple months before Marty, but I have this article up for a very important reason. Okay. So this article is by Lori Goodstein. So when Mike started his blog, he wasn't always, posting original stuff. This is actually a New York Times article that he's posting here. Okay. Who's that in the picture? That's Christy Colburn, Mike's wife. However, raised as Scientologists, Christy King Colburn and her husband, Chris, were recruited as teenagers. This was written on March 6th, 2010. This article is referring to her and her husband. They're still married. 2010. I want you to keep that date in mind. March 6th, 2010, Mike features this article. Okay. He started his blog a couple months before Marty in 2009. Okay. And then later, after Marty decided he wasn't going to, do it, Mike basically takes over the blog sphere. Okay. By saying, here, I'm going to be doing all this stuff. Marty has always said that it was his desire to help raise spiritual awareness to move on up a little higher. If you're a regular reader, you've probably noticed his blog evolving away from the daily news into concepts and discussions. Okay. This is 2013. This is just prior to Marty's case with his wife going sideways and him getting his big payout from Scientology. He stopped talking about Scientology on a daily basis on his blog. He stopped talking about David Miscavige and started talking about concepts and discussions about things and people and government and blah, 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 blah. Okay. Then during this part 1 and part 2, this is from July 22nd. So the article that Mike wrote, which is why I had these over here, okay, March 6th, April, May, June, July. 4 months later, this happens.
For the cult's global operations, one of the inner circle. But now he's left and speaking for the first time about how the church works. It's explosive.
So this was Mike's first exclusive ever on television. 5 years after leaving, Marty has now, they're both doing their blogs. Him and Marty are hitting all of the scene right now. This is 2010. Okay.
Stuff, and the power brokers of Scientology want to silence him. Tonight, Brian Seymour continues his...
Brian Seymour has been a stalwart guy in Australia. Hats off to him for all of his tireless coverage of Scientology over the years.
Investigation with this world exclusive report.
Okay, here's where it gets real.
And Brian Seymour always looks like he's just really worried. Always. Like his facial expressions crack.
Really weird.
Oh, I know he's evil.
Oh, wait. What? What's here? What's this? What's this?
Definitely evil. This gentleman's been hired by a law firm acting for Scientology to film.
Okay, so now all of a sudden, what's the topic of discussion? David Miscavige.
These people. Is that okay?
No, it's not.
No, listen to me!
Oh, there's Tommy Davis in his full regalia. This guy over here behind John Sweeney used to work at Celebrity Center. I cannot for the life of me remember his name. Who's filming, yeah. Tom's just losing his
I
shit.
certainly made
Oh, here's Mike.
clear to John Sweeney and the people at the BBC and Panorama what really happened.
He's made it clear to them what really happened. He divulged to them what the operation was. Okay, and we're going to find out a little bit about that. Oh, look at David Miscavige.
Want you to know who we are and what we stand for.
How close is he with Tom Cruise?
Extremely close.
How close?
Unnaturally extremely close.
Okay, so now we're going to put like the gay rumors out there about David Miscavige and Tom Cruise, because that sells. Let's not talk about the specifics of the operations anymore. We're just going to talk about Tom, and we're going to talk about David Miscavige and their matching motorcycle jackets.
Mike Rinder is Australian. He was born in Melbourne and grew up in Adelaide, just 2 doors down from cricket greats, the Chappell brothers.
So, of course, Mike has to already be famous in Australia because he grew up next to 2 awesome cricket players. He didn't play cricket. He probably didn't even know them, but like they lived in the same neighborhood. Like,
After more than 3 decades at the top of Scientology International, he left in 2007. This is his first broadcast interview.
yes. Oh, here we go. I forget this lady's name, but she was my student at Celebrity Center. She was like, by this time, when this happened with John Sweeney, she had been in Scientology a decade. She aged like 100 years.
I'm not stopping here. You listen to me for a second.
Remember this screaming match between Scientologist Tommy Davis and BBC reporter John Sweeney?
Where Tommy's like about to spit his gum in John Sweeney's face like for like 5 minutes straight. It's disgusting.
You've since spoken with John Sweeney. Did you apologise to him? Did
you apologise to him?
Explain all of this?
Absolutely.
What did you say?
I apologized to him.
Mike Rinder was...
There's Mike. This is inside Celebrity Center in one of the suites. There's Mike. I absolutely apologized to him.
Right there as Tommy Davis played out Scientology's plan.
Tommy Davis had basic...
Look at them both just chomping on gum here. And this is filmed right here in Los Angeles inside CCHR. Inside the Citizens Commission on Human Rights. They took him for a tour.
He said priorly, look, I'm the guy that can goad Sweeney into losing it.
So Tommy Davis was like, give it to me. Hand me the stick, daddy. I'm going to beat him with it.
And that was what Tommy Davis was trying to do.
Is that what he said?
So again, this is according to Mike. Tommy was like, I'm the guy that's going to get him to lose it. Or did Mike tell Tommy, like, listen, bro, I need you to get in his face because I think he's gonna lose it on you faster than on me. This is you. You've already done it a couple other times. We need you to pump it up. We need you to pump it up. But he's gonna play it off like Tommy was like, I got this, boss.
Absolutely.
You were there. He said that was his plan.
That was his plan.
Now, having known Tommy Davis personally and worked with him for many years, I can tell you right now that man doesn't have an original thought in his head. There is 0% chance that I believe that Tommy Davis came up with that plan on his own.
Mike Rinder was ordered to handle the global media fallout from the BBC Panorama documentary, Scientology and Me.
To your knowledge, did the church release it?
Oh, let's watch Mike's eyebrows here. Did the church release that?
No, Anderson. I mean, I'm not sure how that got onto YouTube.
You have to lie.
I'm not sure how that got onto YouTube. Let me just move my whole body. So he's admitting here that he was a liar.
Because there's nothing else that you can do. You can't stand on TV and say, oh yeah, David Miscavige beat people up.
Okay, again, he was asking you about the documentary. Did you lie about that? Why are we talking about David Miscavige beating people up, Mike?
Oh yeah, we forced them to disconnect their families.
So when did you do that? How many people did you disconnect?
Now, Rinder says he's sorry for lying and he's telling the truth.
Now he's telling the truth, guys, and he's sorry.
In an effort to...
Now, don't forget, this is from 2010. 2010.
stop the abuse. Chris, the cameraman, first popped up in a restaurant. Are you with the Church of Scientology? No. Okay,
No. What? Scientology? Huh? Who?
what's your name?
My name's Chris.
Chris told us he was flown out from Los Angeles by a lawyer who works for Scientology International. His assignment? To follow Mike, his partner Christy, and...
Wait, who? His what? Who's Christy? So, 4 months earlier, Mike did an article about her and her husband from the New York Times, and now Christy's his partner. And we're shifting this whole thing to David Miscavige.
Me.
Right.
Do you know who I am?
Yeah, you're Brian Seymour.
So the Church of Scientology has sent young Chris here to document my reporting on the Church of Scientology.
See, now he's being sassy. I like sassy. Brian.
And why would you need to do that?
I don't, for legal reasons. I don't know what the legal
What would the legal reasons be, Chris?
I have no idea.
You have no idea. You say, I have no idea what you're doing, but you're getting paid to do it and you're going to do it.
I know what I'm doing. I don't know why I'm doing it.
See, I know what I'm doing, but I don't know why I'm doing it. Oh, Diane, I'm getting, Dianetics, I'm getting to Tony here in a second.
We all know who this is. Less known is his best friend, who happens to be...
Look at their matching jackets. Guys, as someone who wears protective gear on my very, very fast 125, my PCX, my Honda PCX, which is a scooter, y'all. I like to think of it as a motorcycle because it's the closest I'm ever getting to a motorcycle. I wear jackets with protective gear because I can go on the freeway on it. One of those jackets like that with the armor inside of it and the leather, you're talking $400 to $500 that jacket, which is more than the staff below him combined at Gold and the Int Base got paid in 1 month. And guess who gave him that jacket? Not Tom Cruise, the staff of Scientology. It was probably one of his fakakta Christmas presents that we had to all pool our money in and give it to him. Okay. Yeah. And notice that they're both on like Ducatis because they're both short as hell. They're both short as hell. This is during Minority Report time for Tom Cruise, which is why he has the super shaved head.
The leader of Scientology. He's the equivalent of the Pope in Scientology. He's the leader. He's the absolute authority.
That's correct. He likes to call himself the equivalent of the Pope.
Okay. This whole interview is just Mike talking about how bad David Miscavige is, right?
David Miscavige physically assaulted him many times. David Miscavige, the leader of Scientology, creeping up behind you and strangling you.
Why is Brian Seymour telling the story? Look at Mike's face.
Did that happen?
Absolutely.
No emotional reaction. No emotional damage. Just like sitting there like, yeah. Now, I understand that too, because that's how I would tell my story very early on when I first left. You know, because you're trained so hard to not have emotions, to not be a human being anymore. Right? Yeah. Okay, so part 2 is just more of the same. They also go into like the Anderson Cooper. Here's, of course, this was the greatest moment ever.
He says that he was beaten by David Miscavige some 50 times.
Recently, Scientology arranged this appearance on CNN.
Yeah, they pulled out the wives. They pulled the wives card. They got Mike's ex-wife, Marty's ex-wife. Who else did they bring
with host Anderson Cooper. These women are Scientologists.
That's Marty's ex-wife, Mrs. Rathbun, one of the scariest human, peoples wearing a flesh suit to ever exist. She looks very soft here. Yeah. I'm frightened, honestly, just looking at this thing here.
They're also the ex-wives of people.
That's Jenny DeVotte, Tom DeVotte's ex-wife.
People who have fled the cult, including Mike Rinder's ex, Kathy.
There's Kathy, who looks like she hasn't had a proper meal in years. None of these people are on Ozempic, guys. They're just starved to death. They are malnourished.
Bernardini.
Mr. Miscavige never laid a hand on Mike Rinder. I lived with Mike Rinder for over 35 years.
I saw your ex-wife on.
I know. Then they're cutting out the part where she says, "I know every inch of Mike Rinder's body." Like, that's the weirdest thing for anyone to say in a public place, to talk about their spouse, right?
On CNN.
Yes.
Actually say that she was staggered, disappointed and deeply upset by your behaviour, that it was all you, it was all your fault.
She is trying to protect her position and her well-being and, you know, our daughter and son who are both still in the Sea Organization. So she's got to say what she's got to say.
Yeah, that's very true. That's a true statement.
On Mike.
Mike Rinder.
Good to meet you.
Senator Nick Xenophon.
Okay, Nick Xenophon, who's not a senator anymore, but at this time was doing the most work to try and get Scientology out of Australia. I miss this guy.
Asked to meet Mike Rinder.
Okay, so he's doing the tours. Mike's getting all this publicity. But what is he talking about? Okay, what is his early blog filled with? Is Scientology is okay-ish, and Dave Miscavige bad. Okay, same thing with Marty. Marty was like, Scientology okay, David Miscavige bad. Okay, they were both on the same page until, of course, things went sideways. Okay, so let's go back over here. So now we have, during this same time, okay, this is again March 9th, 2010. This is before Mike went to Australia and went on that. Let's look at this Today Show interview.
Controversial here. But let us begin this half hour with the secretive and controversial Church of Scientology.
Okay, see how the media introduces these things? The secretive and controversial church. No, it's a cult that is run by a tyrant that is using the cloak of religion to avoid taxes and get away with breaking every labor and health code and fucking child labor law on the planet. Be exact, Matt Lauer.
In a moment, a defector from that church's leadership.
And here's Christie's interview. Okay, so just before they go to Australia to talk to Xenophon and all these other guys,
will speak out
here's
in an
Christy.
exclusive live interview. But first, NBC's Kerry Sanders is outside the Church of Scientology's headquarters. That's in Clearwater,
in Florida. Okay, so he's outside the headquarters. They won't talk to him. It's the whole thing. Okay, here we go. There's Christy in the Sea Org.
Life is anything but. She was born into a family.
That's Linda, her sister. I worked with Linda at Celebrity Center. Linda, if you're watching, I love you. I miss you.
A Scientologist. But since Christine and her husband Chris,
she's still married there in March.
Also a member of the church, broke.
Okay, so these are all, I know that lady too. I can't remember her name. That's, oh shit. Faust. That's one of the Fausts right there. Okay, yeah.
Away and started speaking out against Scientology, as they did in a recent New York Times article. Christine says the church
it's just Christy. You don't have to
has cut her off from her family.
They have to make a choice between their daughter or, you know, their eternity, or what they think is their eternity is.
Right. So this is when this whole disconnection narrative and David Miscavige being a bad man, okay, started. Right here in 2009, 2010, okay? Disconnection, bad. All these people who face disconnection come out, okay? This was an article about Steve Hall that was published also in 2010, okay? And he talks about, again, what does he talk about? Miscavige. He screams obscenities and assaults people, right? Every article and things that are coming out are about Miscavige, disconnection. Now, here's what Jesse Prince has to say about Marty Rathbun in 2010.
Okay, thank you very much for stroking our egos. I think we have had enough of it today. I wanted to know about your stance on Marty Rathbun, because this is quite a...
Look at all the people that are afraid to be at these conferences, okay? They're wearing anonymous masks. This is a conference that's being held, right? And this is in Hamburg.
Figure that has popped up recently. And I would like to know how we should treat this guy. I mean, on one hand, he is doing damage to the organization.
Right. On one hand, he's talking about David Miscavige. But
on the other hand, he's making these ridiculous comparisons of himself to Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King. And I'm thinking,
yeah, Marty really did that. Go back to the beginning of his blog, y'all.
Well, is he the guy who could be the next leader of Scientology and could turn the same system into something similar as we are seeing right now? Or what should we think about him?
What should we think about Marty? Now, it's been 5 years since he's started his blog, okay? And 10 years, no, he left in 2004. 6 years since he left, okay? Actually, it's been 1 year since he started his blog because he started it in 2009.
I'd like to comment on that if I could.
There's Jesse.
What you're seeing with Marty Rathburn is what my peer described, the decompression. I don't know if how many people have researched about the things that I've written on the internet, but Marty's Rathburn introduction to the Sea Org. Any anonymous person read that? Okay, I'm going to tell you real quick about it.
Okay, so you have to realize that in 2010, Jesse Prince was still one of the most world-renowned activists against Scientology. Speaking to members of Anonymous in Hamburg, Germany, speaking to the press, the public, everywhere. Nobody talks to Jesse anymore, including me. I should have Jesse on. I love you, Jesse, if you're out there, if you're watching.
In 1977, I was in the big nasty blue building in the RPF.
That was right after the church officially bought it. They bought it in 1976, the year I was born.
One of the other buildings where they made the books called pubs, the publication orgs, the commanding officer there, name was Diane Coletto, and she was married to her husband who worked in the same organization. His name was John Coletto. Well, you know, Scientology at that time, you know, was sending people to the RPF because they had a certain manifestation that happened when they picked up the cans that they call a rock slam.
Right, that's when the needle does this very strange dance, and specifically if it does that strange dance while you're discussing L. Ron Hubbard or being asked about L. Ron Hubbard, then you are a very, very bad person. You are called a List 1 RSer. You're very evil, and you must be hidden away from the public, and especially from Ron.
And everyone who picked up the cans and had the funny e-meter thing going, they put in the RPF. Now, it just so happened that they had recently bought that building, and they needed to renovate it all to put these new orgs in. AOL, LA org, what they call ASHO, the American St. Hill Organization, rat-a-tat-tat.
Just by chance, they bought it, and they needed it renovated. Oh, what a quinky-dink that all these people suddenly all had that same phenomena on the e-meter. So weird.
Well, the next thing you know, there's about 189 people on the RPF.
Weird how that happened. Just magic.
It just so happens that people with a funny needle phenomena suddenly became people to work labor-free, constructing their buildings night and day. And that's what we did. Well, one day, you know, we had a room where during a certain period of time, we were to audit each other.
Yeah, you have to do that on the RPF. You're doing your co-auditing.
And this was like way up, and we were looking over a street that's now called L. Ron Hubbard Way, God help us. And one day we were auditing, and we hear this pop, 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 pop.
What happened, Jesse?
What happened? John Coletto was told that he had to divorce his wife, Diane Coletto, because he was an SP, and he was slowing down the sale of books and the dissemination of books and whatever with the pubs. And they convinced her to divorce him. And
while he was on the RPF, they were like, you're divorcing this man.
They put him on the RPF. This made him crazy. This drove him insane. He broke out of the RPF. He got away. Now, Marty knew...
That's Marty Rathbun.
The Sea Org. Just finished his welcome to the Sea Org stuff. He's now assigned... He called in and said he was going to kill his wife.
This guy went so nuts, he ran away from the RPF, said he was going to kill his wife. Marty Rathbun has just finished the boot camp for the Sea Organization. Okay?
Marty was the person assigned to watch the wife because while they searched for John Coletto. Back to the day of the pop. Diane Coletto and Marty Rathbun were coming around the corner because he had her in the car and he was bringing her into the front of the building where...
Okay, Marty Rathbun's driving her around now.
Where it was. Out of the bushes.
Ready for this, guys? Strap in.
Jumps John Coletto with a gun. His wife. Pow, 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 pow.
5 shots, guys. 5 shots at his own wife.
Blood and guts everywhere. Marty, the gun to him. Click, click, click. He had run out of bullets.
That would have been the end of Marty Rathbun right there.
As he sat there with bone, brains, and blood all over him. This was Marty's introduction to the Sea Org.
That's Marty's first assignment to watch someone. They were under his protection 24 hours a day. That's what happened.
When that happened, they took him because he wanted to get the hell out. He was completely freaked out.
Yeah, he was done.
They took Marty and put him kind of on a similar thing like they did me, where he couldn't go anywhere. He was under guard all the time, and he needed all of this auditing to run this incident out.
So they were going to handle him with Scientology.
In other words, to try to erase in his mind what he saw and experienced. That was Marty's introduction to the Sea Org. During the entire time that I was in the Lisa McPherson Trust.
Okay. Now, Jesse worked as part of the Lisa McPherson Trust. If you guys don't know what that is, please Google it.
One of the things that I would do was to always tell Marty it's safe to come out.
That's very true. Jesse did that.
We need you out, because he wanted to go and he couldn't. He stayed in there and got the rest of the brainwashing treatment.
Okay. So that should give you some idea as to the indoctrination level, okay, of Marty Rathbun. Okay. And Marty came out and defended Scientology still, but only spoke about David Miscavige. David Miscavige, disconnection, David Miscavige. Okay, now this is another article from ABC News Australia from May of 2010.
Scarlett Hannah was born into Scientology's elite. Her mother, Vicky Dunstan, is the president of the church in Australia.
Okay, so this woman, Scarlett Hannah, comes out to tell her story of growing up in the Sea Organization in Scientology. Okay, so we have her speaking out. Where is she now? T and Ree, you guys should reach out to her, see if she wants to come out, and Miriam too, see if she wants to come out and protest, right? Then, in 2012, we have this.
Newest religions and growing, opening dozens of new churches around the world and making high-profile converts in place.
See, now again, the media spewing Scientology's lies about themselves as the introduction to a story about them. Please stop doing that.
Places like Hollywood. But tonight, a former Scientology insider will allege that there is much we don't know about this famously powerful, wealthy, and secretive institution.
Powerful, wealthy, and secretive institution. That should tell you everything you need to know.
Allegations of misuse of power and physical harassment. ABC's Dan Harris brings us an exclusive interview with a woman who was once a high-ranking church official. In his report, Scientology, an insider speaks.
Okay, so this is 2012. Who are we going to hear from?
Scientology, a church
We're going to show Celebrity Center just because we can.
known for celebrity.
There's John, there's Kirsty,
Scientology.
there's Tom. I did the turtleneck interview.
Secrecy and controversy.
No, I'm not stopping here. You listen to me for a second.
And now the latest PR hit involves a former high-ranking...
It's Debbie Cook. This is when Debbie Cook came out. What did Debbie Cook talk about? David Miscavige is a bad, bad man. She didn't talk about all the crimes that she committed on children, on the elderly, ripping people off. No. No, no, no. She talked about David Miscavige is a bad, bad man. But she was about to reveal the money, so they paid her off. Okay? Then we have this one from later that same year, 2012.
So, Astor, when it comes to
Here's
divorce,
Astor
I had
Woodcroft.
read about the difficulty of. So,
Okay.
Astor, when it comes to divorce, I had
don't know
read.
why it keeps
how does that
skipping back.
actually work?
Well, when I was in the Church of Scientology, I was in what's called the Sea Organization, which is their military-like organization that runs all the day-to-day operations.
Now, Astra, speaking out in 2012, she didn't just speak about David Miscavige being a bad, bad man. She talked about forced abortions and other things. Okay? So there was 3 acceptable things to speak about at the time. Forced abortions, David Miscavige, bad, bad man, and disconnection. We are no longer, except for individual people like Astra, who bravely told their own individual story, okay, of their abuse, right? And then around the same time, what do we else is born here? Here we go. The underground bunker is born. The very first post is about what? It's about a movie. That's a still from the movie The Master, right? And he's talking about Mark Headley and Hugh Urban and blah, 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 blah. And Tony Ortega had already been covering Scientology, right, as part of his coverage in another publication, but he lost that job. That publication went tats up. And so he births in 2012 the Underground Bunker, which is now on his Substack. Okay. And again, the narrative of Scientology, okay, of the anti-Scientology movement at this time then is being completely steered by Tony Ortega, by Mike Rinder, and by Mark Rathbun. These 3 individuals are the only 3 trusted sources for the anti-Scientology movement by that time. Okay. Prior to that, you can see we had Jesse Prince, we had Hannah, we had Stacy, we had Gary Scarf, we had the other guy whose name Frank. All these other people were speaking out individually about things they had done, about things that Mike Rinder had ordered them to do. Okay. Specifics were being told constantly. By the time 2012 comes in, we are in a full-blown anti-Miscavige campaign. That is the sole focus of the anti-Scientology movement. David Miscavige, David Miscavige, David Miscavige. Okay? The VV. What's the VV, Smooth Steve? Oh, the Village Voice. Thank you. Yes. Yes. He started that blog around the time the Village Voice was going out of business. And so, yeah. That is when this is birthed, right? And then, so his second article is one of the most disgusting things that he ever wrote. And I took a lot of contention with this, where he's not taking into account also his site now, guys. How many fucking ads are on here? This is like a spam site. Okay, a spam site from like the early 90s. This thing is just awful, awful. Hang on one second. Okay, so Let me move this ad here. Johnny Lewis vying with Luca Magnotta for the title of wackiest Scientology madman. Okay. This isn't the case with Johnny. He doesn't even talk about what actually happened with Johnny. Okay. Just literally here. And this is while Johnny was still alive, I believe. No. This is right after he died. Right. But he doesn't talk about all of the other things that actually happened with him because he's not a reporter, in my personal opinion. Okay. It is literally, not what happened. But this is what he put out. This is what he put out about someone who did in fact kill someone and a cat and then himself. But this is what he thought was like a good headline. Right? Just distraction and bullshit. Okay. With no respect for anyone's story or the fact that Johnny grew up in Scientology in one of the premier families at the time. Okay. And then in 2013, what happens? Leah publicly leaves Scientology. 2015, she publishes her book. Okay. Which is a good book. Troublemaker's a good book. It's definitely her account of her life in Scientology. She leaves no crumbs as far as I'm concerned in that one. She really, and she tells some shit about herself. She doesn't just say, David Miscavige is a bad, bad man. Like, she talks about things she did. Okay. So then the show comes out in 2016, right? It's an American documentary series that investigates Church of Scientology through the experiences of American actress Leah Remini and other former members. She was a follower of Scientology between 1979, when she joined at the age of 9 alongside her parents, and 2013 when she left under acrimonious circumstances. She subsequently became an outspoken critic, right? Okay, so there's 3 seasons. There's all these special episodes, blah, 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 blah. Here's the production. Here's the first season, second season, third season. The series finale was on August 26, 2019. These are all the episodes that they did. Okay. And they interview Janice Gillum Grady, Tom DeVocht, right? Yeah. Okay. Then, that's my Hannah, I think. Okay. So Mike Rinder has, since he left in 2005, swung the narrative of the anti-Scientology movement from discussing particulars, time, place, form, and event, who, what, where, when, why, and how, to just simply saying everything's bad because David Miscavige hurts people. And he forces people to get disconnected. Right? And he's running this illegal operation. Right? Not talking about the billions of dollars that are funneled through various organizations here in America and then given directly to the Church of Spiritual Trust, which Mike knows all about, and he could lay that bare. Right? And, yeah. Also, I just want to say something. Doug, RIP to Doug, right? Because I know he's being mentioned. Doug had a very personal beef with Karen De La Carriere. Okay. And I never got to speak to Doug about this personal beef. Karen is a very divisive person in the anti-Scientology community. Okay. She was Heber Jentz's wife, and is in charge and has put herself very purposefully at the top of most of the Facebook anti-Scientology groups, right? She keeps tabs on a lot of things. She has been known to throw her influence behind people, right? She has been generous in the past. I never received any monetary compensation from Karen or Jeffrey. I want to be 100% clear about that. She did introduce me to the reporter at the Daily Mail who did the very large story about me years and years ago, back in 2013. So I don't have a beef with her. I can sympathize with her a lot for being a mother who lost their child in a horrific way. Doug and I attended the same party that he talks about, which was like his first physical introduction to Karen, right? I was at that same party. There was about 25 of us there. And it really wasn't a party. We went out to dinner at this Mexican restaurant in Glendale. And there was like a bunch of people. Okay. Spanky was there. Tori was there. I was there. Steve Mango was there. Doug was there. Right. And Doug had apparently formed, a personal relationship with Karen, and she was helping him or something. And then at some point, their relationship soured because he asked her directly, was she still auditing people? And she got very upset about that question. And she didn't answer it. And so Doug went down many rabbit holes that really led nowhere, in my personal opinion, about why she wouldn't talk about that and other things and what else was she hiding and all this stuff. Now, everyone in the ex-Scientology community in the early days knew that Karen De La Carriere was a Class 12 auditor, and that if you wanted auditing, you could go to two places to get standard auditing, okay, out in the field from Class 12s. You could either see Marty Rathbun and go down to Texas, or you could see Karen De La Carriere. Both of them continued auditing outside of Scientology. That was a known fact. It wasn't a rumor. Okay. I don't know why their conversation went so sour, and then Doug really got a bug up his ass about Karen after that, and wouldn't hear anything about Karen that wasn't negative. I tried to talk to him once in his chat, and I got like booted from the chat because, he was really a dog with a bone on that one. Unfortunately, there was a documentary made many years ago called Over the Rainbow. Laura FM was in that documentary. The filmmaker got bought off by Scientology, and they re-edited the film to make it look like Karen was this maniac. And they cut out all of Laura's story. I remember when she was getting filmed for this documentary, because she told me about it, and that it was going to be this whole huge thing. It was going to show what had happened to the kids. It was this whole thing. And at first, they got a lot of B-roll and stuff of Karen, but she thought she was talking about what had happened to Alexander, what happened to her son, right? So both Laura and Karen went into this film with this filmmaker with the understanding that this was going to be highlighting the abuse of children inside of Scientology. Instead, Scientology found out about this film and paid this guy a boatload of money to re-edit the film into a really bad look at Karen. Okay. And so that became the factual basis for a lot of people who then decided that Karen was this devil woman in the anti-Scientology community. Okay. But I can tell you from talking to Laura about it many times that is not the intention of the film, nor was it her understanding about what the film was going to be about. Karen, the way I look at her is different than many people in the community look at her. I look at her as, a grieving mom, someone who's very damaged by Scientology. I don't got no beef with her. I'm not going to start a beef with her for, any reason. But you guys, everyone can form their own opinion about whomever. If you have personal interactions with somebody that don't go well or whatever, that's your right to have those opinions, just like it was Doug's right to have the beef that he had with her, you know, and then other people came along to try and like pump up that beef. I won't even, I don't want to get back into that and rehash old shit. But yeah, so the point of today, let's just circle back here. I just wanted to address the Karen De La Carriere shit in the chat here real quick. The point of today is back in time. Okay. And a lot of these people are still alive. Jesse's still here with us. Hannah's still here with us. Okay. People were telling the specifics. Oh, Aaron's mom. You're right. DOA loves rainbows. I forgot about Aaron's mom. Yeah. Aaron's mom's still practicing Scientology. Correct. Yeah. She's still auditing. She's still a believer. I mean, you know, that's Stephen Mango's contention. He's made several videos. If you want to know about that, Marty girl, you can go watch Stephen's videos. I'm not going to get into that right now. I don't want to rehash that whole chapter of life there. Yeah. But yeah, RIP to Doug. He was a good soul. I think that he spoke very well about Scientology and his experiences in it. You know, I felt really sad that he was so obsessed with that particular thing. That is really not, she's not the reason why Scientology is still here. You know what I mean? She doesn't have that much power. She really doesn't. Yeah. That's what I want to say about that. The only reason Scientology doesn't fuck with her, doesn't like take her out with like 500 lawsuits is because of Heber. And because she does know things, because she was his wife. But they're both very old now, you know, and frail. The last time I saw Karen in real life was when I went to the protest in February of 2023 in Los Angeles, and she looked old and frail. I mean, she just looked like, you know, like I could put her in my pocket, you know. So I just don't, yeah, I don't feel like fighting someone in their 80s who didn't commit those crimes inside Scientology while she was there is the correct target for correction, as Scientology would put it. So during the 80s, 90s, let's focus, guys. ADHD meds need to kick in. Did I take that? I did. Okay. During the 80s, 90s, we have Mike, Marty, and David running a very tight ship together to take out perceived enemies, the Cult Awareness Network, the IRS, following Hannah, all of these things, okay? Making Jesse Prince fear for his life and run. Why? Because he worked in RTC with Marty. He knows Marty from the beginning, watched him get, you know, splattered with someone's brains and shit. They don't want Jesse talking. He knows too much, okay? So we have those three people in the 80s, 90s trying to summarily snuff out, literally, anyone who is an enemy of Scientology. Then, when Mike and Marty leave Scientology, they can't start talking about specifics. They didn't sit down and start going, well, let's go. Oh, you guys want to talk to me about what I did inside? What day do you want to know about? What year do you want to know about? Tell me. We'll talk about it. Right? They talked a little bit about Lisa McPherson. Anything that wasn't, you know, actionable against them by the family or anyone else. We're going to talk about that. Okay. Talk about disconnection. Disconnection is evil. It's an evil practice. I'm not saying it's not evil. That doesn't matter. But it's like, it's not the worst thing that happens in Scientology. That happens in religions and cults all across the planet. It's called shunning. It's not the worst thing that's happened inside Scientology ever. It's not. Okay. And we talk about David Miscavige's bad man. Then we had a few people come out and they were like, fuck you. I was forced to have an abortion 87 times. I'm going to talk about that. So they couldn't tell the people like, no, don't talk about that. We're not talking about that. It's kind of off topic. They were like, okay, ladies, you go do your thing. Talk about that. And that resulted in, you know, Laura DiCrescenzo getting a very large settlement from the church. She's actually the first person who ever got all their pre-clear folders sent back to them, right? As part of her case. She was able to get that evidence submitted to her lawyer team so that they could cull it and go through and show all of the time she talked about how sad and upset she was about these forced abortions because they tried to say she didn't care, right? What we have to get back to, and what I really, really wish that Marty too, but Mike Rinder would avail himself of before he passes on to the next plane, is let's get back to specifics. Let's get down to business. Let's talk about the who, what, when, where, why, and how. Those people who were clearly terrified to give forth that testimony did so at great risk to themselves and their families. Okay. And maybe Mike's worried about Christy and the kids, and that's why he doesn't. Right? Because after they got exposed for showing, all the PIs following them around and the surveillance of the house, that really only happened during the years that they were doing what? They were telling specifics, right? During the show. Some very hard specifics came out during that show, during Scientology in the aftermath, that Scientology was hoping wouldn't come out. Now, Mike did his best during that show to weave and bob and weave his way through those interviews to make sure only Scientology, which is not a real thing, was blamed. And David Miscavige, at every possible opportunity, was blamed. Or the Office of Special Affairs, which is just this entity that he heard of, that he just knows the name of. Mysterious. All right, guys, Matrix Tech Solutions. Thank you for this super sticker. I appreciate you for the pair character. Beautiful. Thank you. Dusty Soda Dispenser said earlier, Thursday, December 5th, is the Lisa McPherson Memorial. Never forget. Okay, that's this Thursday, guys. December 5th. This is an all-day event starting in Melbourne, Australia, then to Clearwater, then to the West Coast here. Please join us. Obviously, Melbourne gets to Thursday before we do. So they're going to start. It'll be like Wednesday evening, our time here in America, if you're in America. So tune into that. We're going to have a candlelight vigil on Thursday, and then Friday will be a day of protesting. We are trying to get this going around the world so that we can all do a candlelight vigil for Lisa McPherson. If you are near a Scientology organization and you can show up with a candle and do a silent protest in memory of Lisa McPherson on December 5th, please join the worldwide protest on that. Okay. No, that's not how you spell that, Nora. Okay, let's do the members here. Traveltology celebrating 5 months of membership. Thank you very much for that. Ms. Jane, 3 months of membership. Thank you so, so much for that. If you guys want, you can still get memberships. It's 99 cents a month, y'all. 99 cents a month, or the most is $5 a month. It's really, it's a cup of coffee a month. Remember those old ads? For $0.25 a day, you can feed a starving child in Africa. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like that. I saw someone's Avi and I thought I knew them. I'm sorry for staring weirdly. All right, let's get to the comments here. Comment. Listening to me on the subway on your way to therapy. We'll have a great therapy session, Steffi. Have a great therapy session. If the problem is solved, it's not impossible from the beginning. Yeah, exactly. The commercial sounds like the trailer to a horror movie. It's creepy. I agree, Tim. I agree. That would hurt people while claiming to be victim. How low can they go? There is no low for Scientology. There is no low for Scientology. I'm so sorry you have to discuss this when there were people there that shared their stories before you were born. How on earth does this continue to exist? This is my point, guys. This is my point. Because we're going after the wrong thing right now. We need the specifics, number one. We need the specifics, okay? We need to get back to that specifically. Oh, you're starting late and catching up. Oh, guys, I forgot one thing. I forgot a whole bunch of things here. Thank you. Miriam reminded me just by saying. And there's Scientology ads on my stream. I fucking love it. Thank you for paying me, Scientology. They're literally paying me right now. Scientology is paying. Hello, OSA. Hello, OSA. Did you realize that you are paying me? And under the radar Scientologists, actually, you're paying me because your donations pay for Scientology's ads on YouTube. So thank you. I forgot to share you guys a whole other things here. And I just want to show these because it's important. Okay. These are questions and comments that people had in 2009. Okay. So let me go back here. Okay. Recently, this is from Sharon Stainforth. This is on ex-Scientology message board. Recently, I've been reading about how Mike Rinder has left the Church of Scientology and is speaking out. Well, in view of his past record, I don't think he's speaking out enough. He may well want to disappear into obscurity, and that is his choice. But the way I look at it is if he truly wants to change the course of history, and that history goes back 50 years of lying and bullshit from the so-called Church of Scientology, L. Ron Hubbard, and all the shit that came out of his mouth, then I would suggest that he answer a lot more questions on why he lied like he did. Also from 2010. Hello, Mike. You do not get a pass. Sorry, flunk. Taking swipes at Mr. Miscavige, while easy and appreciated, does not earn you any credibility or absolve you of your own involvement in RICO violations. Shut the fuck up. Turn state's evidence or shut your mealy mouth. Tell us what you did to Jerry Armstrong. Tell us what you did to Bob Mitten. Tell us what you did to Dennis Ehrlich. Tell us what you did to Arnie Lerna. Okay? Until these sorts of questions are answered, you're just another finger-pointing asshole trying to blame others for your crimes. Again, from 2009. I'm not sure how many times this needs to be said. For the sake of clarity, here's it one more time. Marty and Mike are not your average Scientology escapees. And they are not just out and in recovery mode. They are actively pushing a very specific PR line that there are no crimes in Scientology and that there never were any crimes in Scientology. It's possible and even likely that many refugees from the church might honestly believe this, which is part of what makes it so insidious. But Marty Rathbun and Mike Rinder know that this is a lie because they were actively involved in the crimes of Scientology. Very real crimes, not Scientology crimes, yet they are promoting that lie. That is not the same thing as taking a while to adjust to life outside. It's a very black lie and one they know is a lie. Okay, from 2012. Read the skirmish over YouTube video of Mike Rinder black PRing Jerry Armstrong and Graham Barry. Mike Rinder could also do us all a favor and let us know who were the OSA plants working in the Lisa McPherson Trust. What are the chances? Rinder is not the type that does favors. Rinder does deals, ops, and setups to forward Rinder's agenda and Rinder. The wheels are always turning and smoking in Rinder's head. I've watched him work others, and I've watched him try to work me. Okay? This is, again, this is the ex-Scientology message board. These are Scientologists, ex-Scientologists discussing Mike at the time where he's gaining fame, he's getting everything, and just before Leah comes out and decides to team up with him right after Marty kicked the bucket. Okay, this is 2013. Idle Morg said, I contacted Graham Barry to represent a Scientologist with tons of money on account. He said he could not do it. Mike Rinder is at least doing some damage. Give him a break. It's amazing how many of the top executives of Scientology blows, not because he objected to the abuses in the cult and the suffering of many under his watch, but purely for selfish reasons. He grew tired of being David Miscavige's punching bag. Then he self-aggrandizes himself as a white knight because he parcels out tidbits of what he objects to in the cult. No, I won't give him a break. Mike Rinder has failed to be openly transparent about his role as OSA director for decades. Rinder reminds me of the Nazi war criminal Rudolf Hess. Okay, and last one here. This is from 2014. Why does Mike Rinder have a donation page? Shouldn't he still be making up that damages he caused for the next billion years? That was when Mike Rinder added his donate page. He didn't have it at first, back in 2009 when he started, but he added it in May of 2014 on a suggestion of someone. Okay, so these ideas about Mike are not new. They're not made up by me. This is a common sentiment amongst a vast majority of ex-Scientologists who feel the same way that I do, that the former head of the KGB, CIA, Yakuza wing of Scientology is not to be trusted or admired for the tiny bit of effort that he's put in these last few years to help some people. It doesn't even come close to the amount of people that he harmed over that 25-year span. Not even close. He's never told the specifics of what he did, to whom, when, why, and how. He should do that. He won't, but he should. The way Frank was recruited was interesting. They did so because he was able to do an intense dive on what public thought about Scientology while being a Scientologist. Also, he was very new. New people often, like Marty, get put into positions of extreme power in Scientology because they are clean. They don't have any overts against Scientology, L. Ron Hubbard, or anything like that. So that is why they love children, because they are clean. Clearly, the powers that be are not only well aware of Scientology's evil practices and don't care, but now endorse it. Your new soon-to-be president has appointed a pro-Scientology, one of his highest office. Yep. Yep-a-dup-a-dup. Follow the affable folks. That's what I always say. Yes. Hi, T. I was watching something on Nixium the other day, and they were saying you can't get hooked, brainwashed. You can get hooked or brainwashed in as little as 2 weeks if you're going to long lectures. Oh, yeah, 100%. Did anyone see Audit LA get in Janet Whelan's this afternoon at the ceremony for the new DA? It was absolutely awesome. I did not. I need to look that up. Yeah. Did our ears deceive us? Hannah said who? Yeah, exactly. Mike Rinder. I've never heard Mike Rinder even mention Hannah's name, let alone talk about what he did to her and her husband. Yeah. Mike Rinder always says that he was dealing with Lisa McPherson at the time of Miriam's stuff, but it was going on, and this guy was from OSA based in Florida. Why would Mike be dealing with Lisa McPherson? Yeah. Yeah. He wasn't mentioned in any court doc. Correct. On purpose. But we see him in the footage. But you know why he's on the phone all the time? Because he's running all his other ops. He's getting compliances. Getting verbal compliance reports. Raised eyebrows say draw attention to the face. This is important. That's what that means? Okay. Kidnapping from a cult. Does that mean he saw Scientology as a cult then? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Traveltology. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Yeah. Marty Rathbun comment section is an internet time machine. This is very, very true. There's a lot of people in there that were commenting all the time on Marty's stuff that have all fucked off into the forever. They are not here talking about Scientology anymore. I don't know where they've gone. They gave up. They don't care. They died. They got a life. I don't know. I don't know. Bo, thank you. I appreciate your research and presentation of materials from history many, many have not yet seen. Thank you. Thank you, Bo. Yeah, Diane was in there. Used to comment on Marty's blog years back. At least he would reply to me. I was too low class for a render reply. Yeah. I think Mike and Marty really believed in the tech, correct. And once out came to the full realization that it was all BS and they had to accept it or they would have been ridiculed by us never ends. No, here's the sitch though. If you go back in time and you listen to Stacy, okay, and you listen to Jesse, Marty knew back then, even as a class 12, the Scientology was bullshit. He used it in the one successful, workable way that Scientology is used by anyone. It's the same way Mike Rinder used it, and that is to punish. Scientology is the greatest, most formidable, most diabolical punishment cult on planet Earth. That is its only goal. That is its only result, is punishment. Either you punish yourself incessantly over and over and over and over and drive yourself to the edge of sanity, or other people punish you with it and you accept that punishment. And then you go back up so you can do more and punish yourself some more until you get smacked around for not punishing yourself correctly, and then somebody else punishes you worse. That is Scientology in a nutshell. 100%. DOA loves rainbows. I absolutely love when you do content like this. It's highly informative and very educational. Keep up the great work. Well, thank you very much. Greece here. Hello, Maria Demozzi. From a cop's case these days, I learned that there are 500 para-religions or cults, even God's children, who they convicted, although now they're going under another name. Yes, there are so many cults. It's insane. Spicy show with Serge earlier. Jamie was on fire. And fuego. Thank you for this one too. Yeah, I love Jamie. You know I love Jamie the mostest. He's amazing. And yes, he was on fire. On fire. Let's get to these questions here. Judy, this Scientology in Amsterdam, the Netherlands, is that just an org? Yes. The one, there is one. Well, let's see here. I'm trying to think of where the European headquarters is, and somebody else may need to help me with that. But there are just orgs, and then there is a European headquarters also in that same area, where it's like they run all of the European operations from that base. But I can't remember which country it's in. So I'm sorry. Is Horizons New Publishing or New Horizons Publishing a Scientology friend? I don't know. I don't know. Let's see here. New Horizons Publishing. Excuse me. Okay, here we go. New Horizons Publishing. I don't know, guys. This looks like a Way to Happiness front, but let's look. Look at their logo here, guys. That looks almost exactly like the Way to Happiness logo. Helping aspiring authors achieve. Look at these books. Oh, these are not. They're in Pearland, Texas. Let's go to the About page here. It was founded in 2002 in response to the increasing demand for innovative alternatives to the traditional publishing process. Our non-traditional approach to publishing allows authors to retain control over the direction, blah, 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 blah. Maintained by IVC Productions, LLC. Who's on the contact? This is just blank. Like, isn't this weird? Like, there's no name or anything about them. They went to a Christian retail show, an international Christian retail show. So I don't know about that. You know, okay, resources. Let's see who they've gotten here. Lots of Christian stuff. I'm going to say no. This just seems like a teeny tiny Christian publisher that just happens to like have the thing that looks like the way to happiness. I'm gonna go with probably not, but I'd have to do a much deeper dive. But from what I can see there, no, not really. What can we do? What can we, the people, do that we haven't already done for decades now to actually stop runaway train from hell called Scientology? Not trying to be a downer, just really disheartening. Follow the money. Follow the money. Start investigating the Church of Spiritual Trust. Start investigating the IAS, the International Association of Scientologists. Okay? All of the Scientology subgroups that are real groups, that is what needs to be investigated. If we're going to keep kids out of Scientology, we're going to protect kids from Scientology, it needs to be shut down. The only way for it to get shut down is for it to be exposed, okay, and have their money, this whole ideal org building bullshit, okay, the International Landlord's Office, follow the money. Follow the money. That is what we do. Yes, Heber Jentz was Karen's husband. Yes. He was not the top guy after L. Ron died. That was it was a husband and wife team that was supposed to take over. And now I can't remember their names. He was at the event with David Miscavige, talking about what was next for Scientology and all this stuff, along with David, Pat and Annie Broker. Yeah. How many years was Mike in the Sea Org? He was in he held various jobs in relationship to L. Ron Hubbard's PR and the head of OSA for 25 years. Yeah. 25 years. Jesse Prince is still alive. You can find him on Facebook. Find him on Facebook. Let's pull up Jesse's Facebook here. Let's find Jesse Prince on the Books of the Faces here. 1 second. Here he is. See? He's not my friend because he's my personal friend on my personal Facebook, guys, so don't get it twisted. But he's not my friend on my work page here, which is what I'm looking at. Okay. So here's Jesse Prince. Literally, you just type in Jesse Prince and you're gonna find him. You're gonna find him. He made a post a couple days ago. See? Okay. He's still here. He's still fighting. Okay, still talking about everything. Right now, he's talking a lot about America. All right, so go hit him up. Go give him some love. Go ask him about Scientology. He'll tell you about it. He also has a Twitter. Okay, let's go to his Twitter. That page isn't available. Jesse, fix your Twitter. Why did that go to Instagram? No, that's not working. Facebook, you're drunk. Anyway, go find Jesse. Hit him up. He's amazing. Hi, Jesse. Tell him I said hi. Yeah. Mike speaks about David Miscavige, not Scientology. Yes. Yes. Do I think that Michael is a narcissist and actually doesn't feel bad? Oh, that's for any of his crimes. I turned off my heater, guys, and I forgot to turn it back on when I started the stream a couple hours ago, and I am freezing in here. And it actually doesn't feel bad for any of his crimes. Therefore, why would he share any details? I'm going to refer you back to this. Okay. Look at this man's face. This is him being questioned.
It happened more than once. He's a very volatile personality.
Even talking about how he got hit.
He
by
will
David Miscavige.
lash out for uncalled for reasons.
Does that look like a person who feels remorse for his crimes? I don't think so. Have I seen the PBD podcast host intro to his interview with Mike Rinder? What's PBD, Traveltology? I don't know what podcast that is. I need to send me a link. When you say Osa would know everything, would they have known about Miriam's abuse? Yes. Would they have been responsible? Would they have been able or responsible from hiding it from the church at Melbourne? Yes. 100% yes. Because OSA is a network of spies across planet Earth that all reported to one singularity, Mike Rinder. I did not hang my butterfly up. Flunk on me. Flunk. I got to do that. Thank you for reminding me, Mary. I'm going to think of you every time I look at it. Somebody else sent in some super chats, guys. What are you doing? What are you doing, people? Paralyzed to paralyzed. Thank you. Excellent live, Nora. More, please. Yes, absolutely. Where is the hot dog light? You know what happened? I need more batteries. Look at it. I barely turned it on, guys. This thing, look at it's all sad. Oh, it looks better now. Maybe the battery is recharged a little bit. There's my hot dog light. It got so sad yesterday. I was like, oh, I'm going to have to put new batteries in it. But it looks a little better. It's probably going to fade out in a little bit. But there you go. There's the hot dog light. There is my hot dog light. Do I eat hot dogs? I do still. I shouldn't. They're terribly, terribly bad for me. And I'm supposed to be watching my salt intake, which is why I'm drinking this. Not sponsored. Soleil. Yuzu citrus flavor. Delicious. Alrighty, guys. I cannot tell you how grateful I am that you've all tuned in today to be here with me and ask these questions. Lisa, a criminal is a criminal even when they're dying. There's nothing ghoulish about holding people accountable and wanting truth and accountability for the victims of the crimes that person committed. Oftentimes, criminals have done a deathbed confessional to, unburden themselves before they go on to the next plane. And that has been helpful to people in the healing process. And Mike owes that to his victims, his many thousands of victims that are still alive to receive that apology from him. And that's the hill I'll die on, okay? Because holding someone accountable doesn't mean you push the pause button because they get a terminal illness. That doesn't absolve you of your crimes. So that narrative, doesn't hold water. Doesn't hold water for me. Yeah, Mother's Gallery. Yeah, he had enough energy to do 7 video series trashing Aaron Smith-Levin. Apparently, Mike didn't think I did a good enough job at that. He had to bypass me. I'm in a danger condition because I didn't say enough secrets. Also, I didn't know half the stuff that Mike was talking about because I wasn't there and I didn't cover those things up. Once again, Mike continued doing his OSA dirty work and then wants to give us the who, what, when, where, how on how he covered up for Aaron Smith-Levin. Like, that's not going to take down Scientology. I have some gifted memberships. Well, let me look again here, guys. Oh, excuse me. A member for 8 months. Starting at the beginning. Hope everyone is good. I hope you're good too. Let me see here. Cuddly Floof is a member for 8 months. Oh, thank you. Thank you for that. Oh, T, you gifted 5 memberships. Stephanie Thee was gifted one of those memberships. Lauren Quigley was gifted a membership. Cece was gifted a membership. Monica Isaacson. Yeah? I don't know. Sorry, Monica. Thank you for being a member. Sadie was gifted a membership. I don't know what FGP is. And I don't know what that means. Yeah. There you go. Thank you, T, for gifting those memberships, lady. Now, guys, do not forget. Okay, I'm going to be back with more stuff. I think that this episode deserves its own Q&A. So tomorrow, let's do a Q&A deep dive into the history of Scientology. Let's see if we can uncover some more stones. I would love for people who were in the chat earlier, Dylan, Cece, all these people who were there when in the room where it happened. If somehow I could get Jesse Prince to come on with me, I would fucking die, or Hannah. I'll try and reach out to them and see what I can do about that. But I do want to dive into this more, guys, because the Fair Game podcast, FGP, thank you, Traveltology. I was like, what? Guys, I grew up in Scientology. You have to remember everything's an acronym, and I've tried to like erase so many of these acronyms. It's just, I can't keep all of this in my mind, but thank you. Thank you, Traveltology, for letting me know. And yes, if you're here watching, please do hit the like. If you're on the replay crew, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for being here. Please hit that like. Please subscribe. And don't forget, guys, I didn't take the 15% off. I know it's Tuesday. It's Trauma Tuesday. But if you want to go in before I remove the 15% off from my store on any of the 3 stores, because I forgot yesterday to turn it off, that's on me. You guys can get in there. We still have all of this great holiday stuff up. Everything is still 15% off today. We're going to do another sale closer to Christmas, but I'm going to turn that 15% off at the end of the night for me, which is like around 8 p.m. because I'm an old lady and I'm tired and I go to bed. All right, guys, I will see you all on the Flippity Dippity. Thank you so much to the mods, to the members, and everybody who tuned in today. Click that link. Find me everywhere. We'll chat. It's fun. Or send me some money. I need it.